Welcome, everybody, to an all new episode of Figure It Out, where we combine our love for figures and our love for everything superhero wise, and movies and shows and whatever else. Today's episode will be a lot of fun. We're going to break down some DC news that was just more so confirmed. And we're going to talk everything Invincible, but we won't go too far. Two out of the four of us know a little bit too much about Invincible going forward. So we'll try to reel them back to keep it just in the parameters of season one. We're going to have
Which two of us?
Pete and Joel.
Wait, like for the series or for the books?
No, they know the books. They know the books.
Yeah, no, three.
You
I
know the books too. Oh,
you
I'm
do?
the only one left out. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, three out of the four of us
I
know
went
the
to
books.
the end, baby.
So we got to make sure we keep the three of you guys from ruining everything. All right, let me introduce our panel, starting off with Jaydee. What's going on, Jaydee?
What's up? What's up, everybody out there in Streamland? Hope you all doing good.
My dad was excited to see you on the live broadcast last night.
Oh,
He's disappointed because you had a Yankees hat on. So he was
what's his
a
team?
Mets fan. He's a Mets fan.
Okay.
Oh, he watches minor league baseball. Okay.
He's gonna watch this shit. Get a phone call.
Okay.
You on the shit list.
You know what's
For
funny?
sure.
He's of that age group that remembers the amazing Mets. That's why he's a Met fan. You know, but it's okay. You know what I mean? It's still minor league baseball. They're our little brothers. It's okay. You know.
Craziest thing, my dad's a diehard Mets fan. My mom's a diehard Yankees fan. So it's just
Nice.
it's like very uncomfortable talking baseball between them. Next up, we got Pete. What's going on, Pete?
What's up, everybody? I'm sorry. I'm a diehard Yankees fan as well. I am not one of those Yankee fans that dislikes the Mets. As long as you're not a Red Sox fan, I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just curious, like, when it's the Subway Series in your house, is like there's just a war front, like your dad's on one end of the house, your mom's on the other.
It's one of those things that it's just not to speak to either one, really.
Does somebody just get a dirty look at dinner, like?
Yeah, it's kind of just
then
like it's just like, hey, let's just not talk baseball today. For the next 3 days.
Wow.
Move right by it.
See, the difference between a Yankee fan and a Met fan when it comes to the Subway Series is, for a Met fan, a Subway Series is a big deal. We defeated the older brother. For a Yankee fan, it's just another game. You know what I mean? You don't make a big deal out of it. It's just like, it is.
Well, everybody, I'm sorry. I started the show off wrong. Welcome to the series finale. This will be our parting episode. We will never come back to do another one. No. Last but definitely not least, Joel. What's going on, Joel?
What is up? I'm also a diehard Yankee fan.
Okay, indeed. He is indeed. Makes me
Wait,
sick
but
every
what
day.
are you a fan of, Juwaan?
Well, I grew up with my mom, so I was raised Yankees.
Oh,
My
we
first
got 4 Yankee fans. That's fine.
No, because
Don't change it. Don't change it.
It was in a time where I was not watching it. I was just rooting for whatever my mom was rooting for.
Listen,
So
stay with the Yankee fan, because you already said you're a Patriots fan, and I want to balance things out. You know what I mean?
I can't.
over
I'm
here,
sorry,
bro.
I cannot do it. I can't do
yeah.
it. I can't. And what's crazy is Derek Jeter's jersey was my first ever jersey I've ever got.
Oh, very
Nice.
good.
That's great jersey.
No, it's okay. I burned it. Anyway, let's get into let's get into our topics. Let's start off with this Warner Brother news that sent the entire internet in flames today. I saw like 9 different live chats on Twitter, and I ignored all of them. I peeked in one, and it kind of sounded like I don't know if you guys ever heard like a car accident. That's what it sounded like, because people were just not really speaking from a sense of knowledge, just a sense of anger, and it's just like, I can't. I have to leave. But we did get news that our Superman movie is looking for a Black director. Regina King was one of the names that came up. Also, we know that it's Elseworld. Outside of that, there was not really any other new news when it comes to that. We knew they were probably going to do a Black Superman. Me and Joel were saying when they casted the guy, who Joel worked on the Black Superman comic, right?
Ta-Nehisi Coates. He worked on the Black Panther. He's working on Captain America right now, I think. Or
Mm-hmm.
was.
I think he's still on Cap. And from what I understand, it's a really epic series.
Yeah, I hear it's good. Yeah.
Good.
Greg from Breaking Nerd News, who joins us occasionally on the Basement Show, and Ramon as well, both speak very highly of the series. I have not read it myself.
Coates is a great writer. I mean,
I hope they implement that to the actual movie because the guy writing that is. Anyway, so this news to me, I told Joel, it only disappoints me. Well, first of all, let me also bring into this the news of Warner Brothers wanting to go more diverse. So you're bringing in a Hispanic Supergirl. One of the Green Lantern characters in the series will be gay. And
Alan
of
Scott.
course, say it again.
Alan Scott will be gay.
Alan Scott.
But that was done years ago.
Yeah, but now
years ago.
That was a shift. Like there was all of a sudden like, okay, he's gay.
Now it's official. Like in the comic books, he came out as gay.
Right, but he was never like the Green Lantern. He was like
he was
the original Justice Society, and then he had 2 kids too, man.
Yeah, he did, and one of them is gay.
I'm an awful human being. I'm going fucking straight to hell right now. I'm telling you right now. Permission to just be myself for a hot second.
Hot second, Pete. Hot second.
Y'all remember now the Golden Age Green Lantern, which Alan Scott was, he's from Earth 2 and whatnot. He does not share Hal Jordan and the other Lanterns' weaknesses to Yellow.
Right.
His weakness is wood.
Yeah.
Draw from that what you will. Go on.
Fair. Very fair.
Yes, that's a lame joke. That's what I'm here for, folks. Salute.
So wrong,
you know what? I love that joke because it was very clean and you had to be smart enough to get it. So it wasn't like it was super. You had to be smart enough to get it.
I try to clean up my. I'm only one or two shots in, so give me time. Give me time.
We just lost the only eyebrow viewer that we had on the show.
So they're looking to go more diverse, and one of the diverse steps they're taking is Black Superman.
Yep.
I said it before. We're in a time now where, because I said this before, I said the only reason why I was okay with race swapping characters that are that large is because when you do a character like Miles Morales all those years ago, you do a character like Jaime, no one really pays attention that doesn't read the comic books. So the only way to really bring eyes is to change a bigger character, and then once society okays it, you can then bring in more. Unfortunately, today in the Me Too era, the sensitive era, it's all about diversity. So it's like now is the time to just create 900 Hispanic characters, 900 Black characters, 900 LGBTQ. I'm sure there's more acronyms and stuff that go with that. I apologize. But now is the perfect time. So for you to take Superman and do this, to me, is a bit lazy. Because this isn't 10 years ago where everyone was just like, I don't know who Jaime Blue Beetle is. I don't know who Miles Morales is. Go ahead, Pete. I'm sorry.
I want to capitalize on something you just said. Your words exactly were you create a more Hispanic character, you create more Black characters, you create more LGBTQ characters. That's the fucking key word there, create.
Right.
I'm going to be the first one to say, when I first heard that Brian Michael Bendis was making Miles Morales, was going to be a half Hispanic, half Black superhero who was going to be Spider-Man, who's going to have spider powers, I'm like, all right, that sounds really gimmicky and it sounds a bit meandering. And you know what? I was wrong. I was 1,000% wrong. Miles is one of the most awesome characters I've ever had the privilege of reading.
Right.
And I will be the first person to admit anytime I'm wrong about something, but Miles was a created character. Nobody just turned around and took Peter Parker and made a race change of whatever it was. That's always the thing that bugs me out is why? To me, you're absolutely right. It's lazy, especially when you have a character like Superman, who everybody's used to looking at something. That being said, it is an Elseworld story. And there's nothing to say that if it's not successful, we can't have sequels.
Right.
There probably will be sequels. But the fact that it is an Elseworld story kind of says, hey, what's the difference?
Doesn't matter.
Let him tell the story.
And
Can I add on to this stuff? I'm going to use a Yankee reference for a second. And anybody, if they're good enough, can be the shortstop for the New York Yankees, but there's only one Derek Jeter, right? If you're passing on the mantle and that growth happens naturally, I'm with it. I'm down with it. But if you're doing it like Juwaan, you mentioned, just swamping it, it's lazy, 100%, right? And then I want to take another step because I am part of the independent comic book creator community where these things that everyone is looking for, it's out there. It's there. Hi, let me pan up for a second here, right? And that's one of my books right there, Shield of the Interceptor, right? Where the stuff is built up from the ground up, right? I'm not the only one that's doing this. There are hundreds of creators out there trying to put their properties on, forget about the big screen, right? In people's hands. And nobody's backing them. Maybe because they're not on the correct platform. And I'm not saying, a crowdfunding platform. I'm saying on a platform of exposure, right, to the general populace. Right. So what everyone's looking for, it's there. You don't have to throw the Superman shield or the Spider-Man shield or the Green Lantern logo or anything else on there. The independent comic book creators are building this from the ground up, what everyone is asking for, but they're not backing it. So my question is, do they really want it, or do they just want to have it?
Well, I mean, it even goes back to the point I told you guys about why I love Prometheus so much. Ridley Scott could have easily sold that movie off the back of it being aliens, right? And again, I know nothing about the mythology of aliens, so I'm watching that movie and I'm just like, damn, Ridley Scott's a weird motherfucker. And then I get to the end and it's like, whoa, I'm sorry, wait, what? What? Like, I didn't see it coming. To me, that is how you sit in a room with creative minds and you go, hey, we want to tell the alien story, but we want to sell people on the story, not the fame and the legacy of aliens, the story. So to me, and Pete, you made a great point, and Joe, I'm going to go to you. It is an Elseworld, right? If DC was in way better, let me say, if DC handled their business a lot better, right? I would go, oh, it's Elseworld. It's, it's all the way over there. It's not really having anything to do with anything. It's just really kind of getting other stories out. Unfortunately, the way I see it, and could be completely flawed, not a problem. I'll 100% own up to it. I feel like DC is doing things to where it's like, we're going to do this, call it Elseworld, but if it works and things don't work with Henry, I'll just move it in and it's now a vocal story point. And to me, I don't like that. It's either shit or get off the pot. So either you tell fans right now, get over it, Henry's gone, this is your Superman now, or you just keep it solely in an Elseworld to where I don't need him to meet Robert Pattinson's Batman. I don't need him to meet Ezra's Flash in another timeline. Just keep it literally just over there. So to me, that's my issue. I don't care that necessarily you're making Superman black in an Elseworld story. To me, it's all about I don't know
consequences of it.
It really truly is, because to me, it's one of those things to where it's like the fandom will always be upset about something. So it's never the idea to pander to them. They'll always be upset about something. The idea is to tell a story that makes sense and flows properly, So we were sold on Robert Pattinson's Batman just being a Batman universe. We've never once heard like, oh, you'll get a Flash in there or Superman in there. We've only heard that they're only trying to build a Bat family universe over there, right? So I'm like, okay, if that's self-contained, fine, fine. But to me, it seems more like Warner Brothers is throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. And once it sticks, because remember, with Warner Brothers, two things have to happen. Has to make money, and both fans and critics have to love it. If both those things work, that's what their focus is on. It's why a Joker 2 is being talked about. Why the fuck do we need another one of those? Like, what? Why? Why? All you're gonna do is make more people go, well, can't you now have Flash go in and Flashpoint affects it, and now you can bring the joke. You create narratives with fans because they don't have information from Warner Brothers. All fans keep hearing is this project's coming, that's coming. Well, does it connect? I don't know, but it's coming. So to me, it's just like, you got to flesh this shit out better. Figure out what's going to stay to the left, what's going to stay to the right. And then I would have no problems with any of the stupid shit I think you do. Because I can assess it as, well, that doesn't really matter to the left. I'll really only pay attention to the right. So that's how I view it. Again, I told Joel I wouldn't get on here and start screaming and ripping my hair out of anger. It's just more frustration. I want them to be better. They have the greatest IP of characters ever. They should be better, and they should make smarter decisions on just bring, like you even said, Jaydee, you could bring Steel into Henry's world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so,
there's just things you can do.
Now that you're saying that, the greatest marketing event in comic books ever was the death of Superman.
Right.
Okay. You know, they want to talk about inflation dollars and stuff like that, and how money was different before than it is now, what it would have been worth. Right. The marketing event power behind the death of Superman, if that was going on today, would have been astronomical, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't as much a story as it was expanding the franchise, right? So from killing one character, they started 4 new books, each with a different character, each with a different aspect of the Superman character, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, did they throw spaghetti in the walls to see what stuck? Yes. Mm-hmm. Some things did stick.
Yeah.
Right? But they gave them each a platform, an opportunity to stick. So to use that event as a small little plot device in Zack Snyder's flick, right? You missed out on the opportunity to create these elements within the regular, whatever, DCU, the mainstream, as opposed to an Elseworld movie.
Right. And to your point of that, using it as early as you did, you can't go back to that well anytime soon. Like, legit, anytime soon. No matter how different the direction, or you want to no, because at this point, we legit just got the animated movie, Joel, like 4 years ago, if that.
Yeah.
So it's like, we just saw that. Then we had BVS, which was essentially just the death of Superman. So it's like, that story, you got to bury it. We have to wait another maybe 2 or 3 decades before someone can even think about bringing that storyline back.
How long did the X-Men take between Dark Phoenix storylines or reboots?
Not long, maybe only a little less than 10 years, if that. No, yeah, about 10 years. Yeah, about 10 years, roundabout. Because I think Last Stand was like 06, 07, maybe, around there, maybe 05. Yeah, because the first X-Men came out in 98, 99, right? And then X2 was like 03.
Yeah, like 2000, 2001, something like that.
Yeah, so it might have been maybe a little over 10 years, Jaydee.
Last time was in 2006.
Okay, I thought so. And then Dark Phoenix was what, 3 years
18?
ago?
2019.
2019.
But it should have been 18.
It should have.
Right. The whole thing about scrolls or whatever the hell they originally wanted to use. But yeah, so I mean, and Jaydee, here's the bad thing. When you watch Last Stand and then you watch Dark Phoenix, the plots aren't even like dramatically different. It's almost literally the same exact story, just regurgitated.
They're both shitty. Yes.
Exactly. Yes. So to me, it's like, the only way you could do the death of Superman and it not be shitty is if you have a continuity and you're doing exactly like you said. Superman has to be gone long enough for these new characters to mean something. And it's why HBO Max is beautiful. You could bring these characters in, do an HBO Max series with them.
That's great.
And then boom, you could do another movie event where Superman comes back.
Right, have the two movies bookend.
Yep.
Right, the 4 different series on HBO Max. That would have been great.
So I mean, they have ways. And Joel, I'll go to you. Your thoughts on these confirmations. This is really not necessarily news, and then your views on race swapping and whatnot. But there's just ways DC could handle their stories better And it's like, I don't know why they don't go back to how they're able to do the movies, which is the comic books. Like, legit, your source is right there. These aren't stories you're legit creating in the writer's room. These are books. But Joel, your thoughts on everything from DC today?
I told you earlier. I mean, I was more frustrated at the reaction than the fucking actual news, because I'm like, a lot of this shit I already knew. I was just confirming it. I mean, like I was telling you, the only new news is that they're looking for a black director. Okay, not that shocking considering we knew it was like a black Superman.
Right.
That they're gonna use Kal-El's origin, and maybe the name Kal-El. And like I said, and like I mentioned to you, Kal-El, Calvin Ellis is still Kal-El, right? I mean, they can still use Calvin Ellis. Doesn't mean it's Clark. And they might even take place in the 20th century, in the 1900s. Like, it might be a period piece. That's a possibility. They said that, so I'm like, it's an Elseworld series. I mean, honestly, what are you? Everyone's like, oh, the world, like the sky is falling. I'm like, well, what the like? None of that was in the article. Like, what is everyone freaking out about?
Well, you got the bigots.
Yeah, that I know that, but that's always going to be a big thing. But so everyone else, people losing like Henry Cavill, like, oh, on his birthday, and I'm like, yeah, that sucks. But that's an alternate Superman being announced already. I mean, they're just confirming it basically on his birthday. A little fucked up, but you know. So yeah, in terms of that, I mean, I'm fine with all the new news, and I'm fine with them wanting to do that. But like, our frustration is the same shit. Like, I want a Superman movie that's connected to the world that we already have. Like, I'm not interested in really a lot of Elseworld stories. The only reason I'm interested in the Batman is because I fucking love Batman. You know, like, it's not because it's by itself. You know, like, and I'll accept that it's its own thing, but I much prefer that it was connected. Because we lost out on the connection right after fucking, like, what's been left, everything fucking fell to pieces. So it's like, that's why they're in shambles right now. And they're like, oh, let's just do multiverse. They can connect when you want to connect, whatever. So I'm not sure 100% they know what a multiverse is. So it's like, it's just frustrating. And again, I love DC, and I'll watch anything DC. I'm never gonna not watch these things, because when they make their movies, they're pretty good to me. So I enjoy them, just even though I don't really understand what their game plan is, and we probably
don't
won't
think
know.
they do either, buddy.
Yeah, but that's what's frustrating. We don't know what's going on, and they're not really confirming anything. And it's like, oh, just wait till the Flash, and everything will make sense. But I'm like, that's like another 2 years or whatever. Like, give us something before.
They're waiting for shit to suck first, so they can see what they really have to change before they do the Flash. And that's just like you said, Juwaan. Like, if it works, they're gonna shoehorn it in, and if it doesn't work, they can forget it ever existed.
But that's why, and Joel, I want to go back to you on this question. That's why I told you, out of everything news-wise to come out of this, the only thing that irked my soul was that it was the caveat of it doesn't connect to this point. Like, there is no concepts of connecting it at this point. When you say that, it means you're leaving the door open. I want you to close that motherfucker. I want you to say this will never connect to anything. It's only its own thing. And we're doing it because we think we can really hit hard on it's a black alien in the middle of the civil rights movement or something, something like that. And I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. Sure. It's a one-off. It's supposed to be one of those really strong movies that kind of really give you the emotion of the story, and I can turn the page. But when you're telling me that it's the door's cracked, I want to come super kick that motherfucker closed. So that is what irked me, is that they want to leave the door cracked for the possibility of shoehorning it if need be. That was what irked me.
I think
and that's always, sorry, Joel, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That's always going to be a problem, because you're always going to have executives in suits and ties who don't know not only the fandom, but the material in any way, shape, or form, who are making the decisions.
Yep.
Right.
And therein lies the problem.
My issue.
Can I? Oh, go ahead, Joel.
No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, brother. You got it.
My thing was, like, it seems to me, just because it's an Elseworld doesn't mean it won't connect, and you're right. But I don't think they're gonna merge it. I think what it is, they're gonna keep it separated, but multiverses are gonna connect in different ways. They're gonna have multiverse events. It seems that way. That's the way I'm picking it up. That's like, because the movies and even TV shows are going to be able to connect in some weird way. That's what they mean by multiverse. That like just because they're separate worlds doesn't mean they can't interact in some way later on in some weird storyline. That's how I'm taking it. Now I don't know what they're doing. We're just taking, because this article doesn't even know. Like it's like it's still early to change. Literally, that's how it ends. Like it's still very early. Things can change.
They heard something and they were like, "Let's run with it while it's hot."
Yeah, I mean, but we've known this is already known. They want to do a Black Superman story. They want to do me. Fine, I'm fine with it. I don't really care. Fine, like I'm cool with it. I'm more focused on the, like they also mentioned in the article. Everything else other than that is connected. You know, like the Blue Beetle movie and all that extra shit technically are going to take place in the same universe. My problem is, how do you continue a shared universe with Batman and Superman not a main focus in that main universe?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Those are major characters. Huh?
I said, and you continuously pushing Green Lantern.
Well, it just seems like that's coming, because like with the show, and then that might connect to the movie, and they already mentioned that the movie's coming, and John Stewart and Hal Jordan will be mainstays in that. So I do see that coming. Let
me ask you this, Joel. Let me ask you this: with the DC, how they've been working this universe in the front of your mind, do you think this show is their way of going, I don't really know the climate out there with fans on Green Lantern, so I'll do the show, put as much money behind it as possible, and if it works, I know that we can then officially go right into the movie. Do you think this is them kind of dipping their toe in the pool to see if it's too cold, if they can just jump right in, or if they should ease in it?
I think they know what they're doing, because they haven't mentioned John or Hal being in this movie. I mean, this show. I mean, if their exclusion already made me feel like they're going to use them in the movies, and then they'll probably connect it that way. Now, but I don't know that for sure. But like honestly, their plan is to connect TV and movies. So like it makes no sense to keep that separate at all. You know, especially if you're not including John and Hal. You know what I mean? Makes no sense at all. And it looks like to me they're using the show to include as many human lanterns as possible, because it's really hard to explain why the fuck there's so many of them in the first place.
No, well, there's only supposed
Exactly.
to be two. Yeah.
Earth got mad issues, yo.
Well, apparently,
shit going
an
on.
abundance of them. But
There's so many other lantern corps, and there's like 8,000 fucking human Green Lanterns. Like why?
To me, it's I don't know. It's just frustrating. And the reason why I asked that, Joel, and I'm going to go to you, Jaydee and Pete, is because to me, it's the equivalent of starting your DC universe with Supergirl, right? A Supergirl HBO Max show. And then after that, you're going to shoe into a Superman movie. It's like, well, no. I think you have that backwards. I think you do the Superman movie, then you do the Supergirl show. So to me, it was like, if you're starting that way for Green Lantern, it kind of makes me think you're really nervous about Green Lantern. So you want to do the show, sell that. And then when that works, if that works, you know, I believe it will, you'll then go into the movie. Because to me, there's no reason why you don't start with Hal and John. To me, that's how you start it. Because once you have all these other lanterns, it's like, well, are we in the middle of John and Hal's story? Like, what has happened? So do we not get how Hal got the ring, how John got the ring? It's just right in the fact that
if it's connected at all, then he's not, like, Hal was the first Green Lantern, technically. That Alan Scott again has a different origin,
right?
And then connecting Alan Scott and making him one of the, like, in the Lantern. So like we don't know exactly how they're playing out, but it's a time period movie, like show. So Alan Scott's going to take place in the 40s. We know Guy Gardner and his partner will be during the 80s, and we know Simon and Jessica will be around modern day or whatever, or maybe early 2000s. I don't know. They haven't really explained that part yet. We know that's how they're doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, it's just like, it kind of seems like it's leading up to like the modern day versions of the Green Lantern or John and Hal. But again, we're just speculating.
No, 100%. And like I said, to me, I don't like doing this whatsoever. It's why when Marvel announces Fantastic Four, I don't even give it a second thought, because it's like, cool, they're going to do whatever they do. But at the end of the day, clearly Fantastic Four won't be set in the 1950s. And then we have to worry about how they're going to connect it to 5 years after where Endgame ended, you know? So to me, it's just like not knowing. And the fact that Warner Brothers or AT&T, whoever the hell, legit every day will drop a movie or a show announcement and then not tell people where the focus lies within it is frustrating, because to me it's just like, I don't like wasting a theater experience. So it's like, to go see the Joker movie was one of those things where it's just like, all right, this is it. This is it. So it's a monumental thing to go see it because this is all they're going to do. But then I feel like you ruin it when you announce that you're going to do a sequel to that.
Right.
Why does this does not matter? Like, I shouldn't spend money to go see this shit, because at the end of the day, there's no Batman in this shit. So why am I giving this my attention? So that's why I said Elseworld is frustrating, because you haven't earned it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't earn it, it's like, I'm spending $30-$40 to see this Black Superman, ultimately, possibly, this is it. So it's like, I just see it when it comes on HBO Max or some shit. So that's my biggest thing. It's like, Elseworld to me means it does not essentially matter to the main focal storyline, which is the DCU, right? So that's why I'm like, my focus is on that. Perfect that. Get that going. And then you can tell me about you doing all this other random stupid shit. So that's only where I'm at with it. Just do the right shit, man. And God, it's fucking frustrating.
They're clutching at straws is basically where they're at.
100% yes, dude. 100%.
You know
Marvel,
what? Oh, go ahead, Jaydee. I'm sorry.
No, based on what you said a few seconds ago, Juwaan, Marvel bought enough goodwill with their flicks that, okay, the Fantastic Four, we'll give it a shot, even though the last, billion Fantastic Four flicks failed. But as a fan, we know we're willing to forgive, because how many times did they try the Hulk in a flick?
Yeah.
So that alone shows that we're willing to forgive and stuff. But the DC or Warner Brothers or AT&T has yet to prove or buy enough goodwill, good faith from us to pull this off, right. Especially when the perfect Black Superman story has already been told on HBO with Watchmen.
Fair.
Okay. We're talking about from the very beginning, the Exodus from the burning of Black Wall Street to where he ended up, right? Well, shit, that Superman's journey from Krypton, which was being destroyed, right, to Earth, right? And they were both in baskets, right? You had that, and then the way we had Abdul Mateen III come out and be revealed as Dr. Manhattan, it didn't feel like a race swap. It felt perfectly fucking natural,
right?
The way it happened.
Yep. And to me, part of my thing with Warner Brothers is, and this is what I give Kathleen Kennedy a lot of credit for. It's why I said, marketing and business wise, she is up there, man. She knows what she's doing. Think of all the hate those last 3 movies just got. We won't have another Star Wars movie for another 2 years. Why? Because she understands the shows are working. Let's focus on that, get that shit going. And then I can get back into the movies. But that's why Star Wars is always such a great feeling, because it's never boom, 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 movie down your throat. They'll take a break and then come right back like they never left. So to me, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to combine your shows and your movies, maybe you give yourself some time to flesh out these shows and then get back into your movies, so the movies feel more monumental. Because DC right now, the more you keep just making and making, if they're not all hitting, it kind of just, it really takes it out. It really just takes you out. And I am like Joel. I enjoyed Shazam. I enjoyed Aquaman. I enjoyed most of these DC movies that they've been putting out. It's just the idea of connect that shit. But all right, before we get into Invincible, go ahead, Pete. No, go ahead.
I had a couple of other little things. One, to capitalize on what you were saying about like earning the Elseworlds, and to compliment what Jaydee had said. Marvel has earned What If, which is basically their Elseworlds. Yeah, but we're all gonna watch that shit because we want to know what else might have happened in the last 10 years or so. Like, hey, give us some other stories. And as far as like the Watchmen thing with the Black Superman, yes, it felt absolutely natural to see Dr. Manhattan was a white scientist at first. Who gives a rat's ass? He could be anybody he wants to be. And I mean, let's face it, if we all saw the movie, he was a black guy. There's no freaking question about that. But all I'd have to say is, if you
I
want
was dreading that scene. Damn it! I was dreading that.
It set the bar awful high for us regular folks.
I was just like, God damn it.
Because it reminds you, honestly, I swear, I forgot.
How do you forget that?
When you see it in the show, it's just like, oh, that's right. He doesn't fucking wear any clothes. Like, God damn it. Like, you know, it immediately pops in your head like, oh, no. Because you're not.
Pops in your head. This shit pops on you like, this ain't even funny, man.
Yeah, just right here. Just
hello.
Like, hey.
He was sitting on this top corner, and the thing went all the way off screen.
And God bless him. I mean, hey, he is God. He could do that. But all I'm saying is, like, if you're DC and you want to elevate a black character, can somebody please give Martian Manhunter the spotlight? You ain't even got to pay this guy. You know, I don't know the actor's name, who was Martian Manhunter in Man of Steel and the Snyderverse.
Oh, Henry Lennox.
He could be anybody. He's a shapeshifter. He's green, for God's sake. Be anybody.
But that's what I'm saying. Martian Manhunter. Right, but that's what I'm saying. Martian Manhunter could be your best of both worlds. A lot of people fan cast,
and he's as strong as Superman.
So it's like he could legit be black or Asian. So I'm like, one of the two markets of those.
He could be everything.
Everything. Hell, he could legit just be a rainbow, like multicolored.
And he was smart enough to say, "Yo, this ain't my fight right now, but maybe next time."
Yo, you know, first of all,
I got you. I got you.
I did think to myself, man, Zach really captured the black experience with Martian Manhunter, because we will sit back on some shit just like, no, maybe next time. Like, I don't know if I want to do that.
I wanted to ask you one other thing. Speaking of, you know, DC castings and whatnot, what do y'all think about this Finn Wittrock as Guy Gardner? Because I like the actor. No disrespect to him, he plays a great asshole on American Horror Story. I have not seen him in anything else, but I don't know that he has the gruffness of Guy. I mean, Guy's not, you know, in American Horror Story, Finn Wittrock has always seemed to play like this kind of privileged douchebag, you know. Yeah. But he's not an ass. Like, Guy's not a privileged douchebag. He's an asshole. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's why I wanted the dude from Power to be Guy Gardner. The guy who played Tommy Egan. I thought he was just perfect for so many reasons. Go ahead, Jaydee.
The one that was in Ozark?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he killed it for me in Ozark. He showed himself. Yeah.
Wait, did you see Power?
The missus watched it, so through osmosis, I got it. You know,
well, to me, the biggest thing was, it's like a sometimes when you've been a character for so long, it's that's the only way people see.
Yeah.
So when he was in Ozark, it's a drastic difference from Tommy Egan. But he has the look, he has the build. Literally, he wouldn't have to work on anything. So that's why I fan casted him forever ago. But this guy, I'm gonna agree with my boy Joel, man. You give him the vest or the jacket and the orange hair, and I'll sleep well at night. You know, because to me, at the end of the day, he's not a bad actor, and that to me is always the biggest thing. Can he act?
Right.
And we know he can. You know, well, I'll speak for myself. I think he can. So it's all about the look. If you can nail the look, I can really rest my head very easily at the idea of him being Guy Gardner. So that's how I feel. But whoever wants to go next, please just jump in.
You know, the only DC film that I'm looking forward to is Suicide Squad 2, and it's only because of the director. You know, because I like James Gunn's style, and he's gone after this flick is over because he's going back to work in Guardians 3.
I will tell you right now, he's not gone. Warner Brothers definitely has a wink handshake with James Gunn. Because think about this. Technically, you have it backwards. After Guardians 3, he's probably gone from Marvel. So it's more likely that his long-term stay will be with Warner Brothers. And if you're Warner Brothers, you probably look at James Gunn and probably be your guy to do more team-up stuff. So whatever your bigger ensemble movies are, that's probably the guy you're looking to either supervise or direct or write. So he could do a Teen Titans. He could do a, you know, whatever else he decides to do. So I think he's very much, he might be their golden boy. The way that Zach originally was going to be, James Gunn could be that for them going.
I hope so, because Suicide Squad came at it the wrong way from the beginning. That was a flick that was supposed to be done after Justice League, right?
Yep.
Imagine if they were operating in the city the same time the Justice League is dealing with the parademons, right? Or if this was Avengers, while the Avengers are dealing with the Chitauri, right? And they're hiding within the shadows to complete their objective because they don't want to be spotted by any of the big heroes that put them away. So that's their thing, right? Oh my God, we got to get out of this bind that we're in. But if we do, Superman and Batman are going to spot us. So what do? Do we let one of our guys bite it? And that for me is that draw. That's that play. The impossible choice, the Sophie's choice. Which one do you make? And it would have been a great tie-in because now you can see the guys from the Justice League movie, but in different angles, how they handled this situation, but from the back end, right? From the alley or from somebody else's perspective. And it would have woven the DCEU a lot tighter than the nothing that it is right now.
Well, I'll even say the style of David, if you've ever seen a David Ayer movie, the style of which he directs, his story would have been better suited if they had just almost shot for shot recreated Assault on Arkham. Like you might not even need Batman in there. If you didn't want to have him in there as much as he was in the animated movie, but the plot of that very much feels like something David Ayer could sink his teeth in and give the best of. So to me, I was shocked that they didn't just do that, especially with the team of the Suicide Squad that they had. It almost matched the one in the animated movie. So but why didn't you just do that?
It was shitty. I mean, I want to see his Netflix movie again with Will Smith and Bright.
Bright was really good.
Bright a lot better than Suicide Squad.
I don't know why Netflix hasn't really greenlit the sequel to continue. I thought they did. They did years ago, and then apparently Will Smith just got busy, and it just kind of was on the back burner. But it was greenlit. It was greenlit a few months after the first one came out.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
and that was years ago.
He put up this picture the other day. He was like, "Yeah, I'll let myself go because I'm not really doing anything." Motherfucker, you could have been doing Bright.
I'll do Bright. But Joel, your thoughts on our guy Gardner before we move out of DC, so we can get calmer here.
I was fine with him. I mean, he doesn't look like once I saw him, I'm like, I know what he looks like. I know he's a good actor, and I definitely think he could pull off the character of Guy Gardner. But he doesn't look like, especially at first look like Guy. So my concern was like, will they ignore the fact that he's a redhead? That was my biggest thing because I'm like, he doesn't wear a mask. So for me, if you're not wearing a mask, the hair color matters because that's a distinct look. And it's not like there's a fucking lot of redheaded Green Lanterns. You have everyone else is a brunette, and that it's a Green Lantern. So for me, as long as they make him a redhead and he looks like his costume looks like his classic Green Lantern costume, which I like I'm fine, because I think he can pull off the role. It's just a matter, can he? As long as they visually give me Guy Gardner, I think I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's all I asked for. All right, I want to do this Marvel topic really quick before we dive into Invincible. It's a question for Jaydee and a question for Pete, mainly because me and Joel already talked about it on our last podcast. So Jaydee, my question for you, because I know your love for it. I personally didn't feel it. I told Joel why, but I'm curious about you. The Marvels. How were you feeling the name reveal for Captain Marvel's sequel in The Marvels?
That's the reveal?
That was the name. That's the name. The Marvels. Yep. That's the name of her sequel.
What? Does Kamala's get her own show?
Yeah, right? Kamala still comes out this year. Yeah.
So, okay. Is she being introduced in that? No, because her show comes out first.
Yep.
So who else do you have?
Monica Rambeau. Monica
Rambeau, but she's not a Marvel. She's full-time, right? So the Marvels, I'm thinking the spin-off, the franchises, right? What do you spin off of the main thing? Marvel Boy, you got the Kree, or you got the kid from the New Warriors.
I will say, Jaydee, Joel made a really good point that I didn't think of that eased me up on the name a little bit. He said it could be a nod at the idea that Monica in the comics was Captain Marvel. Well, was Captain Marvel. So it could be literally these three characters through the history of them have shared the name Marvel. So they're the Marvel.
Okay.
So I mean, you look at it like that and you're like, okay, but it still doesn't make sense because Monica's only gonna just now become Photon. So it's like,
Sure, but what about the Blue Marvel?
Ooh.
We don't know if he's not in it, right?
yeah, that's true. We know nothing about this movie, to be fair.
Right.
Literally nothing.
Because
We know
if
it
it's
has
the
a female villain.
Marvels, I'm thinking it's anybody that had the Marvel name attached to him, right? Could it be oh my God, what was her Annette Bening's son?
Genesis Bell. I was just thinking that. Do you think
Yeah.
that we could possibly get him?
Yeah, or Phyla, right? And you
Phyla
get
Bell.
you get. Sorry to say it like this, you get Marvel gets to hit their bingo card, right? And get their female, member of the LGBT community up there. And I hate to say it like that, but who else fits that notch? Unless that's where you're going with Carol and Monica's mom.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. I see where you're
Right.
going. But it sounds like you're selling yourself on it, Jaydee.
No. I always felt that was it.
No. I mean, it sounds like you're selling yourself now on the name. It sounds like you've talked yourself.
That I'm selling myself on the name? No, I'm just trying to find a reason for the name. Where
Right.
else has Marvel been used? Right. And if it's the Marvels, when you're talking about the family, but then now here's my mind running, right? Here's the gears turning. If that's the case and you're trying to come up with future characters, is that because you don't have faith in Brie Larson and what she's doing to carry the franchise?
Okay, now that's what bothered me, Jaydee, and I told Joel. I said two things bothered me. First thing is, I don't want this sequel to turn into what Cap's third movie was, which essentially was not a Cap movie. It was an Avengers movie. So to me, it's like the first one got so much shit with Brie Larson. Her acting, the script, the forcing the female, I
tried to give it a second shot last week, so it's still fresh, and it hurt.
But see, so that's my point. So, excuse me. And then in Endgame, she was barely in it. So it's like she has not gotten a fair shot yet as Captain Marvel, and I just don't want her to be drowned. Because think about it. Heading into this movie, Monica Rambeau's on a high. People love her. They just recently saw WandaVision. Kamala Khan was just in the video game. She now will get her own series. So those two female characters are on a high. So I just don't want, and I'm not saying she will, but people just keep forgetting Brie Larson got this Captain Marvel role fresh off of a fucking Oscar win. Like she's not a bad actress.
No,
I just want to showcase how good she can be, and I just don't want her to kind of be there in the scheme of it. I need her to really shine. And again, I know nothing about this movie, so she very likely could. It's just with a name like that, it sounds very all-inclusive. Right. And when you do that, like think about Civil War. It was supposed to be a Cap story, but it gets so flooded in all of everybody that you brought in there. So to me, it's just like, as long as she's front and center, I'm getting as much of her as possible. I'm fine. I'm completely fine. It just made me a little nervous.
I'm sorry. I think Civil War was a Cap story. The A story was a Cap story. The B story was probably almost as strong as the A story because it wove into the A story a lot more.
Completely fair. I will always say, though, you could have literally done most of that premise as just the Cap story and then just left the Avengers aspect of it for an Avengers film.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why I'm like, it did a lot. I mean, great movie. Not here to say anything bad about it. But it definitely did do a lot. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's just like, don't do that with whatever this Marvel's project is going to be. Make sure she's
I think the first Captain Marvel movie is the weakest out of anything. It's the bottom of the list.
Over Dark World?
100%.
Ooh,
wow.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Watch it. Dude, I felt no emotion through it. Right. Even though Brie Larson is an Oscar-winning actress, she was flat. She was flat throughout most of the movie.
That's where I think they
Brie
got
Larson is anything but flat, my friend.
Right.
Throwing that out there.
That's why I think they got lost in the script. Right, but
brother.
That's
I
true.
go to hug her, and my hands are going straight down to the floor.
But that's
no
where I
stop.
think that's why I think they got lost in the script, because it was the whole premise of she was supposed to be emotionless, and I think she nailed
Okay.
it so well.
Mhm.
Everyone was just
Right.
like, "This is horrible acting." Well, no, she's supposed to exude no emotion. And
Okay,
that's
but
what she's
not
doing.
just that. You look at it, and she got out of every situation so easily. The transition from scene to scene was just like, why did you even have this thing in the last scene happen? There was no need for it, right? There was no dramatic jeopardy in any of the transition scenes at all.
To be
And then
fair, that's I also put a little bit of that on Feige, because remember, this movie was supposed to show you why at the time she was going to be the strongest Avenger. So it was supposed to show you how strong she was. So when you get the moment of Thanos throwing the punch and she's catching it, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. She is fucking like invincible almost.
maybe all right, maybe it's nitpicking. But even like the musical notes, which Marvel always
Music
works well,
sucked.
big time, dude.
That's-
like
I watched it 2 days ago with my niece who was over. We were babysitting, and she I know she's seen Wonder Woman, and she had me watching Captain Underpants for like 4 episodes. I was like, all right, slow your roll. I can't take no more of this shit.
yeah, do Captain something else.
I was like, here's a good, strong female character for you. She
Yeah.
loved the movie, and to me, that was important. Like, all right, at least you're enjoying this for what it's worth. She's like, yeah, she's 9, so ADHD, like right there.
Yeah.
And she sat down and watched the whole shit without like once looking for her iPad or phone or anything. But again, I'm watching the movie, and I swear I didn't really like No Doubt back then, and that song at the end fight, oh my god. And I get the significance of the song, I'm Just a Girl, I get it, but for the love of God, you could have found a different song. My vote would have gone to Juke Joint Jezebel if you want a 90s female song. For God's sakes, it worked in Mortal Kombat, and it's a dope-ass song.
But they had a song. I think the song choice before that scene, which was a lot hard edge, hit a lot harder. Maybe it was Hart. I don't remember who it was, but that could have been played in lieu of the No Doubt song.
Oh man, that whole thing just ruined that fight scene for me. Just
fair.
But I did like the movie, and I do like Brie Larson, and I agree with you, Juwaan. I hope she doesn't get overshadowed in this sequel.
Right.
And Sam Jackson was weak in that flick. I'm sorry.
They
He
made
was not.
Yeah, they well, I think their whole premise was to, and again, I'm not trying to make this sound bad. It's gonna sound bad, whatever. But they did make sure they made almost every male in that movie seem very inferior.
Yeah. I mean,
Fury wasn't. He hadn't elevated himself to his furiness.
No, yeah.
Well, to be fair, yes, but also they like, even me and Joel even talked about it. Like it's honestly nothing, but it did bother us. Even when it scanned to him to show his power level, it kind of was like a jab at men, like super weak. Yeah. Like it was just like, all right, come on, guys. Like we get it. We're here for Captain Marvel. You don't have to keep selling us on it. We're here for her.
That was nitpick.
Yeah, very much a nitpick, but it was just like, all right, guys.
I didn't like the whole Fury losing his eye to fucking that cat.
That was so stupid.
And I'm sorry, and it was very much a force with Danvers. I think it was the name on her plane.
Danvers.
Yeah, it was just like, all right, guys, really.
The Avenger.
Like, come on.
I'm like, come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
All right.
I thought you meant Veers. Yeah.
No. It was calling her the first event. It was just like, all right, okay.
Yeah, the Sam Jackson thing. Okay, they're setting it up. They're giving us all the payoffs with him and the cat, right? They just didn't sell it at the end.
They really didn't.
Yep.
And it should have flirted his eye out.
And honestly, it was one of those things to where it was just like, I would have liked to have played his eye being missing the same way Heath played Joker's origin, to where it constantly changes in story.
Yeah,
like whenever Fury's telling drunk war stories, it's like, man, yeah, Thanos ripped my eye out. Like I wanted to always change. I didn't ever really need to know how he lost.
Right.
It was not that important. So for you to kind of muddy it like that was just like, give him an eye. Like, I mean, if you're gonna do all that, just give him a goddamn eye. But Pete, my question goes to you, and then Jaydee, I'm gonna loop it back to you because of your writing background. But Pete, me and Joel talked about this. We got the confirmation that Black Panther 2 is officially titled Wakanda Forever.
Right?
I am, to me, I consider this movie as a placeholder, so they figure out really what they want to do. But Feige has definitively said they will not recast T'Challa. I do not agree with that. I do not think a character should die with the actor. Same reason why no one was saying after Heath Ledger passed, let's never do Joker again. It wasn't even that long after that we got a new Joker. So it's like, it's a legacy thing. It's one of those things where now going forward, people are like, hey, you gotta live up to Boseman, man. He was the man, you know? So to me, it's one of those things where it's like, you got to give another T'Challa. But how do you view that, Pete? And how do you like the Wakanda Forever title?
I like the Wakanda Forever title, first of all. I think it's a great idea. I think you do not start that movie with a funeral scene. You can't just have him gone all of a sudden out of the blue. You need to... I do not want to see some Star Wars-esque bullshit with like a, digitized face or anything. I
think Feige came out and already said they will not do that at all.
Good. I'm amenable to a voiceover of some kind. Like you have Chadwick's voice, or you can maybe mimic it digitally, and then you see the Black Panther in costume fighting or something. And I don't know, whomever the villain is going to be, Namor, Doctor Doom. There's been a lot of rumors. Drop a goddamn building on him. Something. He's got to get killed. I know that's maybe sounds shallow and crass, but you can't just have the Black Panther not go out fighting. He's the Black Panther, for God's sakes.
Well, it also, really quickly, Pete, I'm sorry. Yeah. It also takes... To kill him is also really bad, regardless if you do it through dialogue or on screen. Maybe
if he saves people, like doing it, if he sacrifices himself.
But here's the bad thing about it, Pete. We legit just watched him die in his last 2 appearances.
That's true. That's true.
So it's like, how many fucking times are you gonna kill this guy?
You're gonna kill him once more. I'd rather see him go out fighting myself.
I'd rather you not kill. I mean, I'll even say this. I hate what they're doing with Batwoman, with everything they're doing with that. I'd rather you do that.
It became a lame story.
Right.
They turned it lame.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather you do that. I'd rather you do, if Namor is your villain, he has T'Challa. And until you figure out what you want to do with T'Challa, he is a prisoner somewhere. And that's off screen. We don't know that. We do think he died in the rubble or whatever the hell. So to me, I'd rather that. Because to me, if he dies again, it's one of those things where it's just like, I watch you die in almost every major movie you're in. Like,
you're a Kenny.
It away from me. Yeah, it takes it away. So it's
I like that third possibility. I definitely do. And with that said, I am completely against the idea of not recasting. I will firmly say that whomever they cast next has a very high bar and some very big shoes to fill and live up to. I watched friggin' Infinity War and Endgame just yesterday because coming off of Captain Marvel, I'm like, all right, I gotta watch the other two now.
Right, gotta keep going.
And even watching the Marvel reveal, hearing Stan in the beginning, and you kind of get a little misty-eyed, and seeing Chadwick, I still said it to my mother. I'm like, I can't fucking believe this guy's dead. Like, and I don't mean to sound crass like that, but like it comes as such a shock to me. Like the guy's young and strong, and like, holy shit, man, life is not fair. But that being said, this character is bigger than any one man, and I can't speak as a black man or little black boys who have a hero to look up to. But the idea of depriving, especially the kids, of a hero to look up to because one man passed away tragically, unfortunately. That in and of itself is a tragedy to me. Like you need to give them their hero for future movies. And I can't speak for the man, but I'd like to think that Chadwick would want the role to go on as well.
I agree.
I'm totally open to the idea of go through fucking time with Doctor Strange and pluck a good ass Killmonger out and stick Michael B. Jordan as Black Panther. I'm fine with it because the guys are great. I'm just saying, whatever you do, a good writer can come up with a good reason and whatever, or we just don't address that. Hey, you look a little different, whatever.
Yeah. But
just never address it.
to me, I know Joel is very much for the idea of it, for just another Black Panther, like you bringing in someone reasonable to be another Black Panther, but not T'Challa. The only reason why, to me, it's just like, I don't know, man. It just feels yucky. It honestly does. It's like you've barely scratched the surface of T'Challa, and now we can never see him again.
Right. There's a lot of stories to tell.
Remember everyone's reaction when the news came out Marvel was doing Blade. There was no reveal of who was going to be Blade. Immediately, everyone's like, it has to be Wesley. It's like, dude, no, Wesley's not the only guy that could be Blade. There should be someone else that can.
I was on that boat too, though. Like I wanted Wesley.
I really
I'm like somebody else out there can do the job. No, and I completely get it. But it's to my point of how quickly did we go, well, shit, when Mahershala was cast, it was just like, well, Wesley, it was great. So that's why I'm saying, we say it now. No, you got to retire the character, blah, blah, blah. But there's somebody out there, and I won't say, I'll say my pick. I think John David Washington. I think he has the build. I think he has the persona. I think he has everything going for him that could slip right in. And I'm not saying it's one of those, oh, he's blunt. It's just the idea of you don't feel the step down. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's just one of those things to where it's just like, you can't do that. So Jaydee, I'll go to you as a writer. How would you have approached this situation to where you're doing a movie, your main character passes away? Do you just throw the character away, or do you?
I hope I don't come off sounding like a jerk, but I think Chadwick gave us a gift.
Yep.
Because now you have an opportunity to show a secondary character earn the title of Black Panther. So now you've shown kids 2 different times that, you know what, lightning doesn't strike just one time, right? I said it earlier, with the New York Yankees reference, if you're good enough, anybody can be the New York the shortstop for the New York Yankees. But there's only going to be one Derek Jeter. There's only going to be one Chadwick Boseman. I remember when I saw him in The Five Bloods, I was like, man, Chad is amazing as this method actor, because he slimmed down, right, to get into this role.
Wow.
And a lot of the guys back then were unfortunately dealing with substance abuse and the way if they weren't, the way malaria was kicking their ass out there. And I'm like, Chad went for it. Wow. And then understanding what was revealed right after, it was just like, what the fuck? And he knew it was coming, so he set certain things up. That's why we're getting his voice in the What If when he plays Star-Lord, right? If he really wanted T'Challa to stay on, and he was already making all these moves, he would have said something.
I think so too.
Right?
Wait, you're saying if he wanted them to recast him, if the possibility?
Yeah, because if he knew all of this was going and he was already making those plans, he would have said something. He would have said something to win his confidence. He would have said something to Coogler. I'm sure he would have said something to Coogler.
I don't know, because he didn't even tell Coogler he was sick.
Anybody. The only people that knew was sick were his family.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So, I think at the end of the day, he thought it was something he could fight. So he legit couldn't.
Right.
And that's why he didn't say anything.
I wouldn't mind seeing Shuri in the lead of Black Panther. Right?
I don't mind it for this movie, but it has to be a bridge. Like I don't want her to continue the mantle.
I'm okay with the bridge too. You know what I mean? But because you're doing now for little girls what you did for little boys in the first one.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm okay with that.
They need that.
Yeah, but I also don't want the little boys to lose their man too. So
right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm like.
Now,
but that's where you get to have someone and you place him in the most adverse situations, so you can feel empathy for him as he's earning his way for that spot. How are they going to do it when Michael B. Jordan, burnt all the heart-shaped herbs that are supposed to give you the power to commune with that.
Right.
That's another thing, right? The communing with the ancestors is a big part. Are they gonna, are they gonna force ghost, Chadwick in a communing with my ancestors scene?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know.
I would accept Force Ghost, Chadwick. I would.
Okay.
It just has to be, it has to be of the utmost of taste, and
Right.
Of
it has to
course.
be legit,
Of course.
like a
As
necessity.
long as they get permission, I'm good.
Right. From his wife. Right. From the estate. Yes.
Yeah. So wait. So Jaydee, ultimately, you're saying you would not recast him?
I wouldn't recast them because you have an opportunity through the most unfortunate of circumstances.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I would have loved for him to be around and do, something else. I be honest, I didn't want Chad as a Chadwick as Black Panther. I didn't. I always felt the best Black Panther was cast as Baron Mordo in Doctor Strange, because if you ever saw him in the movie Red Belt,
I did.
He can pull off the moves. He could do the work.
For sure, but here's the difference though. When I watched Chiwetel, he does lack the swag that Chadwick brought to T'Challa.
I think he lacks
natural
swag.
I don't know. That's an untouchable swag, Jaydee. Like I've seen Chiwetel, and the swag is not there. Like the scene where Boseman is just conversing with Natasha at the council meeting, and then when he's sitting on the bench and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll kill him myself." Like just all of that is just like
you didn't see the Firefly movie?
No.
Oh no, I never saw it there. Yeah.
Oh, you got to see what Chiwetel did. You want to talk about smooth? This motherfucker was the James Bond assassin of space.
Wait, they were killing in space?
You never seen
Firefly takes place in space.
No.
He was the main bad guy.
Oh.
And he was the.
So why do people act like 12 Years a Slave was the first time this guy ever acted in his life?
Of course not. And Red Belt was prior to that. And he was, he was an inside man with Denzel Washington. And
shit, he was. Oh my god.
Wow. Yeah.
Tons of movies before that.
He was. Jeez, Louise. Yeah, no, I mean at the end of the day, like I said, they have a tall order, man.
Who's the young brother from Bridgerton that he was in the
Reggie something.
The Robin Hood flick? No, not the Robin Hood flick. The King Arthur flick that he was also in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I like that kid. What are you trying to
I like him.
What are you trying to say?
Dude, he's smooth, man. He's smooth, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I do want to put this out here. Your T'Challa does not, because that's untouchable. So you don't have to make your T'Challa if they decide to go T'Challa. It doesn't have to be as smooth because that's just untouchable. That's the only reason why I say John David Washington. When you watch Tenet, you just go, God damn, that's a smooth motherfucker. Like everything about it, like
effects. And I hate to say this part, but kings were always stepping out. Who's to say that T'Chaka didn't have a piece on the side somewhere down the road?
I think that could get a little messy. I don't know.
Of course, it could get a little messy.
I don't know if I like. No. I don't know if I like the the plot line of black man steps out on his.
No, see,
I don't know about that.
No, don't say black man. Say king.
Yeah, but he happens to just be black. I don't know. That could get a little.
Look in Africa, right? The one king that is left, the one monarch that is still ruling a nation right now, has close to 40 children and 10 wives.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, are you speaking in real life?
Real life.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I saw the report.
You were trying to picture T'Chaka just like this.
No, honestly, I swear to God, I thought you were gonna make a fucking Eddie Murphy Zamunda joke.
No.
Like, I thought what's building here?
Yes.
Like just Eddie Murphy steps up, like I will rule Wakanda.
Because right, they're talking about all this stuff with the monarchy in Europe, right? So I was watching a news piece where they were saying, there's a monarchy in Africa right now, and the only ruling family, the ruling monarchy, the king has close to 10 wives and 40 different children.
Well, see, you know what the main difference between that monarchy and the one in Europe is? That dude's got a lot of very distant cousins, and those motherfuckers ran out of cousins to fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
when I get killed for that statement, just remember you heard it here first.
Yeah. We will move on from that statement, Pete.
By the way, Juwaan, I really want to just welcome you to your very first demonetized episode.
Right? Yeah.
You're welcome.
No, I just make sure this one's definitely not for kids. Not for
people aren't going to. There are going to be people who are not happy, regardless of the outcome.
Regardless, yeah.
So do what you want to do. True.
That's what I'm saying. To me, it's one of those things, as Joel always tries to get through my head, I have to live with whatever happens. But to me, I don't know. Black Panthers had such a rich history, and to just go.
But does it?
Away.
Does it? Dude, the only time the comics
especially
were good,
lately,
for me, I didn't read the stuff in the 60s and the 70s, right? But when Marvel Knights took it over, right, and Mark Teixeira doing the covers, and you had David Priest writing the stories. Holy shit!
Well,
right?
I always say what built my hype for Black Panther was from the BET animated series.
No.
Black Panther.
And that came after that series, right? That's when oh my God, John Romita Jr. was drawing the story.
Yeah.
At that point.
And
Right?
he had an amazing arc in Marvel's what is it? Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He was amazing in that.
Oh,
so
please read the very first 4 issues of Black Panther in the Marvel Knights. I mean, dude, they took him on a parallel road of the Batman thing, right? The soles of his shoes were made of the vibranium. That's why he was able to run up the walls, right? The claws were vibranium. That's why he was able to cut almost anything with the claws, right? And then the black with the gold trim was, dude, visually, that was a great costume, man.
The Shaka's suit is definitely a little bit based off of that suit.
I will say I am a little curious why that was never really a thought for them, was to maybe take a break, knowing how well Disney Plus is going, and just doing like a prequel series. To kind of just let the name of Black Panther and T'Challa breathe for a little bit, because I can tell you right now, T'Chaka, back when they showed the beginning of the Black Panther movie, he looked badass as hell. I would have loved to have seen some more T'Chaka.
Or that was his son that played the younger version.
That was
right, yeah. So
I mean, how about that? Forget about them. Show me Wakanda, right? Show me Winston Duke.
They're gonna have a series.
You sure?
Yeah, they announced it.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, okay, cool. With him?
No, just in general about Wakanda. So I don't know who's gonna star. Okay. They're just gonna have.
There's not enough information. That's gonna be about Wakanda.
Because dude, Winston Duke was stealing scenes.
Yeah. Yes, he was. He was.
No, we're gonna eat them. No, we're vegetarians. That was a funny moment.
And
that was a setup that paid off very nicely.
Yeah, Winston Duke was definitely on his game for that, for sure.
Well, I have my own theories, about. I agree with everyone. I think the same thing. I don't believe you should. I think you should recast. I don't think a character should die with an actor. Personally, I think it's still too damn soon. And like Juwaan said earlier, he fucking died twice already, basically, in these movies. So it's like, why are you gonna? I mean, it just feels like the character can't seem to find any justice. So it's like, I don't think the character should pay for what happened.
Okay. But you know what? Again, going back to, I'm sorry, the opportunity. Marvel has shown the rest of franchises and how they're held,
right?
How to move on.
Right. No, I agree. And look, and I talked to him about it. I'm like, I don't like it, but they said they're not gonna recast. I've made peace with that. I'm like, okay, fine. They're not gonna recast. Okay. Will it go to Shuri? Maybe. I'm fine with that too. If they want to bring in a male character, I've already thought out an idea. I'm like, look, we're never gonna get the actual White Wolf, because they already gave that name to Bucky, right? You can use the White Wolf origin and just use and then replace it and put Casper Cole in it, because the only other Black Panther aside from Shuri was Casper Cole.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you can actually live like the character can still move on to a character who was actually Black Panther, and you could technically use the White Wolf.
And wasn't Casper a son of T'Chaka?
He was I mean
He was an older illegitimate brother to T'Challa. That's why he was the head of the Secret Services.
He kind of had the same issue as what the hell
Killmonger.
Killmonger, very similar origin. He was half white. He was half Jewish though. Casper was like
that's right.
He was
that's
half.
Right. That's why he was the White Wolf.
That's why
they played him more, olive skinned.
He eventually became the White Tiger, right? No, I think he became White Tiger. He was the Black Panther and became White Tiger. And then
White Tiger, so I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, me neither. I just thought, I just know they did it. But the White Wolf itself, like we're never going to see for that character specifically, and he was an adopted brother of T'Challa and Shuri.
Oh, adopted. Okay, I thought he was the half.
And he was white. Like, literally, he was a white guy. So they can definitely that origin. Huh?
No, I said you won't be able to sell that shit.
That's why. That's probably why they're going to call Bucky White Wolf.
Right.
But I think you can use Casper Cole. You can introduce him. He can be the male Black Panther at the very least. But I don't know. I mean, whatever they want to do, fine. But
he was the head of security, right?
He was. I think White Wolf was.
Right. All right. And if they could play that off, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
As the next in line, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it. He's reluctant to do it.
Yeah, and because he's probably like, let's say you could say he's the half brother of T'Challa or some shit.
100%, dude.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing is like my thing with Warner Brothers. It's the idea that since they don't know, they can't tell us, and that's my biggest issue.
Yeah, they're still figuring.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they want to do going forward.
Mm-hmm.
We'll obviously know a lot once filming gets ready to kick into gear. We'll know a lot more. So and even that might change from the second movie to the third movie. So who knows? But all right, let's get into why we are here. Invincible, but first, this is a podcast where we do talk toys, and I did just receive this in the mail today. My Witcher.
Oh, okay.
I love it. Removable. His sheath is removable. 2 really badass swords. Love it. And what I love most about this figure, his right here, it's nothing. So like you can push all the way in, but it still bends and whatnot. But there's literally like nothing right there. I've never seen that before. Shit, hold on, I have it right here. Ugh.
Do the swords look different?
Yes. So hold on. Here's the usually you can tell by the length and the handles. So here's one. Here's one.
Yeah. Yep.
And then here's the other one.
Yep. One is steel, one is silver.
Yep. CD Project Red.
That's the
Oh, sorry. I apologize. It's McFarlane. McFarlane made it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
McFarlane made it. You can see him right up there. McFarlane made it. And they said there's 22 moving parts within this figure. So very good.
Else?
Huh?
Does it come with anything else?
Yes. Comes with this wolf head.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know enough of the backstory. All I know is the Netflix thing. I don't know why a wolf was included with the Witcher.
Oh well, you would. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean the Witcher is like a monster hunter, not just witches. Like I swear to God, I remember Juwaan fighting that fucking werewolf.
Yes, Juwaan could not defeat that werewolf to fucking save his life.
That was the last time I struggled that game because the rest was pretty. Like once you level up to a point, it's pretty easy. But that was like in the early on.
Oh, so that's not his clan symbol or anything like that?
No. The symbol of the Witcher is right here. It's right there, right on the necklace.
Okay.
Yeah, part of the Wolf Clan though. Like he's known as the White Wolf.
Right.
Again.
And the way it's supposed to go on here, Jaydee, is you can hook it right there to the side of him.
Cool.
Yeah. But all right.
What's the price point on that?
This was actually $24 on Amazon. Only $24.
That's a cool thing.
I will say, if anybody wants to, like, my introduction to the Witcher universe was the Dark Horse comics, and it's an absolutely dope series. I think there's 3, maybe 4 minis, and they're about 5 or 6 issues a piece, and they're fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never
I'm-
played the games and I never read the original books. But one thing I do really like about the concept of the games is that they're a sequel to the books. It doesn't
Yeah.
just like try to recreate the books or anything. It's
Right.
actually continues. I was like,
I-
I think that's probably the first time I've ever heard of something like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the
It
first
is-
time I heard of it, and I can't wait for whatever this new Witcher game is that they're going to start working on.
Oh, I fucking well, the way it ended, I don't know. We'll see, but I do love. I was introduced to it because I know that they were making the show, and then once I heard they were making the show, I'm like, let me play the game, and man, did I fucking kill that! I love that game. Again, I said it here before. But that's one of the best games I ever played in my life. It's and I didn't finish it all the way. I finished the regular story. I still have like the DLC that I have. I said I'll wait till season 2 comes out so I get rehyped.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into Invincible, show that immediately made me take up therapy. Robert Kirkman.
Why therapy?
Because, oh my goodness. Yes. I was just like, goodness gracious. I didn't call my dad for like 4 days. This is like, I don't know. I don't know if you're a Viltrumite. I have no idea.
Does he have a mustache? That's clearly a thing.
My dad does have a mustache. If we can be completely honest here, he does have it, and he rocks it very villainous.
And wait, does he have a little salt and pepper on the side too?
My dad, thankfully, is fully bald, but if he had hair, he probably would
okay.
rock that.
Okay.
So there was just a few things that made me kind of go, should maybe not call my dad as much as I was before. No, all love to Pops, but no, Robert Kirkman did an amazing job with this series. It just did something that, and the reason why I think it was a shock and awe to a lot of people was, you look at this and it very much looks like the world we've been accustomed to with Marvel and DC, right? With your Justice League, with your Avengers team. So to see them, and spoiler alert for anyone who thinks we're not about to spoil this whole first season,
Get ready.
to see the first episode end with him just wrecking what is essentially their version of the Justice League, it's never been done before. Like, we've never seen the Hulk just decide one day, just like, you know what, fuck this, I will murder everybody. So
Right.
to me, it was the idea of
He
taking
did World War Hulk.
Jaydee, which by the way, talk about What If. I want that for What If. I want a World War Hulk so bad. The only person that I've ever met that is just like, I could care less, is Joel. I've never met anybody who's like, who does not want that movie desperately.
Yeah, sitting on top of a Chrysler building, and that's his throne.
Yes. I mean, Jaydee, I always say, to me, one of the most iconic moments in Marvel Comics is him landing on the moon and him squaring off with Black Bolt, and Black Bolt whispering, and him going, I didn't come here to hear you whisper. I came here to hear you scream. And I was just like, oh my God, what?
Yes. Yes.
And then he lands on Earth and just drops Black Bolt in front of the Avengers like, oh, this is what you thought would stop me? Nah. Go ahead, Pete.
Request for a future show, just on a note like that. Just like really momentous, epic, melodramatic scenes for characters, like when they really just amazing and just despicable displays of power, like that shit like that.
Yeah,
and it's true to about it's all over comics. So just an idea for a future.
Probably even more within anime.
100%.
Oh,
and I'll always say, I told you guys, Miles' moment was jumping off the building. To me, that was Hulk's moment. Hulk's moment of really showing you how powerful he is in taking down Black Bolt.
Okay.
And I even love what they did with Juggernaut in that comic series. I was just like, God damn, he just trashed Juggernaut. He even trashed him so bad, Xavier and the rest of them was just like, I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm out of here. Anyway,
I got a bunch of them running around in my head. So yeah, just future episode.
The wheels are moving in here.
Yep, hamsters on the wheel, man.
To get back to Invincible, the character development was amazing. You felt for everybody. I even felt for William in that one episode, where he just wanted to be with the guy that he enjoyed, and then turned into a fucking cyborg.
Yep.
Robert Kirkman, and this is why I said I don't really need it in a live action format, because I don't know how far you can go with live action as you can with animation. So sometimes it's just good to stick with what works, and animation clearly is where he has his extreme green light. Like to me in live action, I don't really need to see like how they what was the guy that's obviously like supposed to be Batman? What's his name?
Darkwing.
Darkwing, yeah.
The way he killed him in live action, that doesn't work the same. Like it doesn't work the same. But man, holy shit, the voice casting.
Spot on.
I probably said this a million times. The best voice cast in animation history. There is no voice cast better than this. This is top to bottom. And it was funny because Robert Kirkman was telling Kevin Smith, he was just like, dude, you know, because he was saying how Kevin Smith was like, well, if you did this in live action in like the 80s or 90s, like who would you cast? And he was like, well, obviously Tom Selleck would be, you know, my Omni-Man.
Omni-Man.
And he was like, you think you can afford Tom? And he's like, dude, did you not see who I got as my voice cast for this show? Yeah, I think I could have afforded Tom. So he just did a really good job. And I think the moment that really stuck out to me in this series was at the end where he's talking to Seth Rogen's Martian character.
Mhm.
I'm horrible with names, sorry guys.
Alan
the alien, thank you, Alan the alien. And he's kind of just leveling with him, and he's like, well, what are you gonna do next, kid? And then it's showing literally shit hit the fan all over the universe, including at home. And then he goes, I don't know, thinking maybe finishing high school. It's just like he still isn't getting it. He still isn't getting.
No, but that's also a direct pull from the book.
Oh, really?
That's
Really?
the last line. That's the last line of the
That is
issue
so
12.
dope.
Oh yeah,
Well, Robert Kirkman literally just walked this off the pages into animation.
100%.
Practically, yeah.
A lot of it.
He went back to a piece he did 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. He found the holes, the flaws, and he tightened them up. And did he race switch? Yeah. Did it work?
Yeah.
Amber wasn't black.
Who cares? That's not a thing that matters, you know.
Shrinking Ray was
a man.
Guy, right?
Was a guy, right?
So was the other green creature, the like slimy green looking thing.
All the Martians weren't green.
Not the Martian. They
were beige.
It was like an energy kind of. It looked like goo.
Oh, the girl who chewed the gum, and then it was like the green. It looked like a green.
She looked like she stepped out of the slime pit from He-Man. It was like I can't remember her damn name. It was like green, almost gooey energy kind of thing.
Oh, yes, that she was the Green Lantern.
Yeah, that was a dude.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
a dude. Yes, 100%. And it was a black dude.
Yeah.
Well,
William was hetero. Like, honestly, he almost kind of works better as a gay kid.
William became gay though.
Oh, did he? Okay, I'm not up that far. I'm only up to about issue 70-ish.
Okay, so see,
no, it's all right.
Okay, so hold on. So let's all do this because I've read none of them so far. Let's keep it within whatever issues of the comics revolve around what they did in this first season.
So about 12 issues.
Yeah. Okay. So let's keep it within that. Because I told Joel I like not knowing what's coming because we work in a profession where we just have.
It's so rare with them.
Yeah. So I'm like I know nothing, and I would love to keep it that way.
Oh my God, I'm happy. This is uncharted territory.
Right? That's what I'm saying. I kind of want
new for the first time.
I'm like, I kind of want to roll around in it a little bit.
The reason I read them is because I got so impatient with the show, and I'm like, no, I can't deal with this week to week bullshit. I have to know everything. And that's why I started reading them in the first place.
Oh, wow.
Well, I will say this one thing. Because Robert spoke on it on the Kevin Smith show. And I don't know the context of it, so no one has to worry about me spoiling anything. I don't know. I just know he flirted with the idea of the possibility of at some point a multiverse of Invincibles. And I was just like,
but that,
well, what?
He doesn't know.
Don't tell me anything else. He only teased it a little bit. And I was just like, oh, okay. I like that. Sure.
I love Captain Britain.
Me too, Britt.
Who is that? What's happening here? No, but JD, I want to go to you, man. What were your overall thoughts of this season?
I love the series. I love how the series expanded on things that were not touched in the 12 issues, like that train scene. Oh my god!
Yes,
it was not in the book, and even if it was in the book, that impact would not have been able to hit as hard in the book as it did on the show.
Yep.
J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man. You don't get any better with casting that character. I thought his J. Jonah Jameson was on point. But this was great. And dude, everything I do, I hate to say it, is using Robert Kirkman's superhero style as my archetype. You know, because he was in Image, he was able to pull things off in the book that he did not have in the series. So during the funeral scene, there were a lot of Image characters in the book. So you had Savage Dragon, you had Super Patriot, which was his first Image book. Robert Kirkman and Corey Otley did Super Patriot for Eric Larson. So that's why he was in that. And what does he do? Dude, he had no shame in his game pulling the archetypes and referencing who they really are. Not just with the Justice League with Damian Darkblood, it's half Etrigan, half the Question,
and
or
Hellboy.
Dude.
I like Hellboy too in this, which he doesn't look like exactly like that in the comic book.
Right, yeah, he's pretty different in the book.
He looks like the Question with like a demon face.
His arc was very different in the comics compared to the cartoon.
Yeah, that's why I forgot about him. I'm like, that's so different.
I mean, even something as simple as the opening cards, how the blood splatter increased from episode to episode. I'm like, oh my god, this is great stuff.
Yeah.
I would say, JD, to your point of kind of what you were doing in the comics or what you didn't do in the comics and you did in animation, you couldn't pull off the title reveal for every episode. People forget. I think it was either the first or the second episode. That title card didn't show up till almost the end of the episode, where he said, "I got my name," and he's like, "What?" And it's like, "I'm in," and then it showcases it, and it's like, "Wait, am I in another episode?" And it's like, "No, it's the same episode." But to me, it hits because you don't necessarily have to hear him say it. It's the impact of it, and that's why the title card shows. It's great.
And they say the word Invincible, the thing pops up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, even in the last episode where Robot, where he's like, well, obviously now he's not the robot, but when he goes to the Omniman, he's gonna have to be, and then it splatters, and then it's just like, oh. Yeah. Robert Kirkman just gets it. He gets it. He just does.
After a while, weren't you kind of wonder, like, all right, where are they going to slip it in this time?
Yes,
like,
I was.
It was almost a game.
Yeah, and what was even doper was how much bloodier it was. It was just like...
And you know what? I thought it was just like random blood splatter, and I didn't pick up on how much bloodier it got until I saw them all in sequence in, like, meme form, and I was like, oh, I get it. Because he kept getting his fucking ass kicked.
And JD, I want to ask you this as a writer before I go to you, Pete. How important is it, JD, to truly showcase how difficult the hero's journey is? Like, again, this is...
Oh, that's the hook.
That's what I'm saying. This is drastically different, like, than anything we've seen before because he constantly is losing every battle he's in.
Right. I hate to say it, but how do you Peter Parker somebody, right? How do you put... When the superhero life, when things are going good in the superhero world, their personal life, it's really going bad. And then when it's going good in the personal life, the superhero life has to be going bad, right? That's the dichotomy. That's what you play off and putting them in those choices, right? He was trying to protect his identity, not even knowing he didn't have to protect his identity because everybody in his personal circle knew who he was.
Right. Yeah, and that was, I will say again, Amber. Come on, Amber. Dog. Yeah. Amber, really? Yeah. I knew you were always invincible, but gave me a hard time because I wasn't feeding the fucking homeless. Like, there was 8 invasions in the timeline of me dating you, and you were just like, well, you didn't show up to dinner with my mom. well, I'm sorry. I was trying to make sure you could have a mom tomorrow.
Right?
Like, what,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? Like,
Plus, you know, the personal interactions where the awkward moments where mom thinks that he's getting a blowy from Adam Eve.
Yeah.
And you two downstairs now. That happened in the books, you know, and you're like, this is exactly what went down. You
but
know,
I'll even
that's
say,
what happened. The team
I'll
went.
even say Sandra did a really awesome job. Like the best mom moment she gave was when they're going to the campus and she's like, be careful, you know, be responsible and no sex. Mark is just in the front seat, just like, oh my God.
But you know what? And Sandra Oh pulling off that performance of showing a strong mom who keeps the family together and how one lie just tears down the foundation of everything she believed in.
I mean, that was a pretty big lie, though.
And
That's
see,
very
I
big
viewed
lie.
her,
Of course.
I viewed her the same way I viewed, like I told you guys, I viewed Thor in his arc and why I thought it was the best. When you go through each episode, no one suffered more than she did, because
100%.
the moment where
Emotionally.
right, yes, because Mark probably
Mark-
suffered
Mark
physically
got
most.
fucked up.
But emotionally, the moment where she's kind of crying over everything that's happening, and when Mark wakes up, you immediately see her wipe the tears, and she has to be super mom for Mark. She can't let him see her emotions in that moment. So I'm like, and even that moment where Mark's jumping holes in the backyard, and he's getting a little testy with her, and he's like, make me. And she's like, oh, does that make you feel like a big man threatening me?
Yeah.
Like, knowing that, like, and you see how quickly it brought Mark back down. So to me, her character is so important to Mark going forward, because he literally is what balances him. So she was amazing, and her voice moments, she just really did her job. Like, she understood the assignment and she nailed it.
But Joel, don't think that Mark didn't only suffer, you know, physical trauma. He suffered some emotional PTSD. Yeah. And I'm not even talking about his dad. I'm talking about his own actions causing the death of other people.
Yeah.
So that was fucked with him, dude. The final episode when the house fell.
Yeah.
And he's holding on to mom's hand.
Arm. Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, Jaydee, I'll even say
what happened to the kid. You know what happened to the kid.
Right.
He just didn't have enough time for it to register because dad is beating his ass.
And I'll even say what affected him probably the most outside of his dad, and even that is when, what is it, War Beast you were saying, Joel? Was the title?
Battle Beast.
Battle Beast. Battle Beast ultimately killed him right there. like and then to Mark, and that's why I think the moment with his dad just really was just like messing with his head. Remember, as he was passing out, he thought like, obviously we know Omni-Man was watching him get his ass beat, but he thought in his mind, Dad? And then like he passes out. Only we know Omni-Man did sit there and watch him get his ass beat. Yeah. But to him, it was like an illusion, like him passing out. Right. So it's like the boy has gone through some. It's why I was just like, oh my goodness.
He will always go through shit.
Even killing the woman from the first invasion, that when he brought it to the hospital.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. By the way, I love that when he saved her in the little crater. And then you see like all the legs and shit bent, and it's just like, oh God damn, Mark. like, oh my God. And then he brings her in and he's like, can you guys fix her? She's barely hanging in there, Mark. like she's 90 and you broke all her.
Doesn't make it. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He's trying.
No, and that's what I love, Joel. I love, because to me, it's why Man of Steel spoke to me when everyone was talking about the how they didn't like how much of a mess Superman was making. It's like, dude, realistically, you just became a superhero. That's probably exactly what should happen when you're facing people who are more experienced. Because Zod in that moment doesn't care about collateral damage, so he's not looking to go to an empty space to fight you. So he's going to throw you through buildings. And because you can't control it, you can't like, stop, let me carry you to an empty space. So to me, I liked that Mark kept messing up. He's not good at this yet. So
but what about, Mahershala Ali taking advantage of his inexperience?
Yes. I love that. And wait, because and I'm glad, Joel, you are watching Burn Notice. You know, I love Jeffrey Donovan, who voiced the Machine Man. Is that character in the comics? The Machine?
Yes, all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone
That was
showed up.
that was pretty accurate to overall. The show has a very big accuracy to the comics with very little things changed or sped up more or less here and there.
or was woven tighter because you had the homeless shelter tied in with Mahershala's family and how that was affecting them. That wasn't in the books, right? Amber didn't do that. She wasn't in an outreach program, but finding those holes that you can add to the narrative.
No, she was. She was in. She was working in the homeless shelter. She was supposed to show up. Yeah. Eve actually showed up to help, but Mark was not there. But this was before.
In the book?
Yeah, this was before Amber knew that he was invincible. That was the big change. That was the biggest change that I found in the books compared to the cartoon. In the book, she did not know. And in the cartoon, she was like, "Yeah, I figured that out already." In like very Blake Lively Green Lantern style, like, dude, you got a fucking mask on. You just because you cover your cheekbones doesn't mean I don't know who you are.
Right.
Which is a great line in and of itself.
Right.
That's probably the only good thing to come out of that movie. It's where it's like, yeah, why do more people not notice that?
Yeah.
But Pete, I want to pose this question to you. Well, first of all, this is what I've been waiting to ask you guys, but how fucking phenomenal and how much of it did it take you out because you still couldn't comprehend it? Walton Goggins' performance, because it sounds nothing like Walton Goggins. Like, how much did that like speak to you as Cecil, to where you're just like, wait, that was him?
When I looked up the whole cast, I was like, what? I had no clue that was him. That was ridiculous.
I only watched Justified for Walton Goggins.
It was crazy. The first time I've ever heard of Walton Goggins, and I didn't know it till a lot later, was Sons of Anarchy. He played a trans character, and it took me forever to figure out that was Walton Goggins. Wait a minute, whoa, that really? But no, Pete. So
there was another guy too that I can't believe it was him. But Juwaan, ask your question. I'm actually just looking up IMDb right now so I can see
how much did you enjoy the character of Cecil, and also how much did you enjoy this first season?
So knowing Cecil, I started reading these comics probably around issue 2. So knowing Cecil and where his whole story goes, and knowing that it was him, like the Rowan Goggins, I'm like, wait, no, wait, really? Like I had no concept of it. Honestly, though, the casting that surprised me the most, I had to look this up, was Jason. I'm gonna mess this guy's name up. Jason Mantzoukas. As Rex Splode.
Yes.
I'm like, that doesn't. My brain would not comprehend that was him.
To be fair, the only reason I knew that was him was because if you watch Big Mouth, like, how they sound is never any different. That's just how he sounds. Like, he never alters his voice.
That's true.
Like,
and I didn't realize that was him either until I looked that up. Like when I first started watching Big Mouth, and I'm like, oh shit! And now that you're saying it right here, I'm like, oh, I can hear it.
Right? It's like he never changes anything of his voice.
Yeah.
Anything he does. You watch The League, sounds just like him. You watch Big Mouth. You watch watching John Wick. He didn't even change it for John Wick. It's like he's so just
John Wick.
Yeah,
he was the bums.
Yeah. You can, like, when you hear him, you immediately go, that could only be one guy. Like, that has to be Jaydee.
The actors you had, Kyrie Payton as Black Samson.
Yep.
You had Kevin Michael Richardson as the Moeller twins.
That was great.
They were great.
It keeps going on. You had what's his name? Heroes, Dr. Spock.
Wait.
Yeah.
What did you say was? Wait, you're talking about the Blue Twins?
Yeah, the Mall.
Michael Richardson.
I thought that was by the guy who voiced No. Look that up, Pete, because I think that was
it's Kevin Michael Richardson. You're thinking of Clancy Brown, who did Damien Darkblood, who I will first say I thought that was Clancy Brown. I actually did. I was like, yo, they sound a lot alike.
I know my voice actors, bro.
My bad, because I'm like, it's the ear, and I'm like, Clancy very distinctive. Okay, I'm
fully agree with you, Juwaan. I was like, yo, that's Clancy Brown. And I was like, oh shit, it's not. Clancy Brown's the other dude, the fucking Hellboy guy.
Yeah.
By the way, before you get into Pete, your thoughts on the episode overall, can I just say Cecil makes Nick Fury look like a Girl Scout?
Oh yeah.
Oh wait,
He
just
makes
wait.
Nick Fury seem like a Girl Scout because
Oh,
you
man.
look at Nick Fury in the MCU alone, not even the comics, and he's obviously a guy who will do whatever it takes to get the job done. He'll screw over even the Avengers.
Mhm.
But Cecil is a different kind of asshole. When they took
Oh,
the blood sample of Mark after he almost died against Battle Beast,
Uh-huh.
that let you know that Cecil was on a whole nother level.
When
He
you
has
saw
problems
that
crossing
he,
the line, yeah.
what's that, Jay?
No, that he has no problem crossing the line.
Yeah.
Oh, there is no
No.
line to him.
When he employed the guy who just tried to kill their college friend, it's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
oh, we could definitely use some dead soldiers in our army. Like, yeah, let's bring this guy in.
When
Yeah,
they
but he-
employed Ezra Miller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ezra
yeah.
Miller.
Yes,
Like that.
yes.
Perfect
Even-
casting.
Even him watching them in the house
Mhm.
was just like, yeah, no, I don't think there's a line to him. It's just
No,
whatever I need
there's
to do.
there. Trust me, there isn't. There is not. I love that they brought in the White Room, like even for just a split
Yes.
second.
Yes.
That's
I-
such an integral part
I
of
like
the book, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad we got to see it this early on, because that was a much later reveal, and
Yeah.
it was like really cool to see like how they did
By
it.
the way,
No,
I
it
stopped drinking
It
water.
happened in the first 12 issues.
Was it?
Did-
Yeah, because it's
I don't
bro,
remember
it's
that
in the
in the
book.
fir-
I got it. Don't make
I believe you. I thought it was way later on. I
JD's
could
like, don't
swear
you
that was
make it
later
up.
on.
I will say, Pete, I stopped drinking water after that. Immediately stopped drinking water.
You have to. You have to.
Like,
Tap
I
water is
gotta be
very
able
bad
to
for
see
you.
Some shit. I got to be able to see some shit, man.
Fluoride is made to keep the general population complacent and downtrodden. Trust me.
Yep.
And I'm not going to get into conspiracies because I really don't want this episode banned from YouTube. But nevertheless,
Well, Pete, listen, they're in Jersey. You know what I mean? So the top one in Jersey is already a hell of a lot.
We
more
are not going to keep you guys created super rats. You're not going to come after New Jersey, okay?
So?
What do you mean so?
We did.
What do you mean
Nothing wrong with
so?
that.
No, but Pete, what else did you enjoy from this first season?
I don't remember, Juwaan, if it was you or Jay who brought this up, but like the fact that they Peter Parkered Superman.
That's Jay.
And like
yeah.
like and watching, and like you said, watching Mark mess up so many times because he really does not have any experience fighting these people, and being super powered and like getting thrown through buildings by not only his father at the end, but by just about everybody. And you can't just run away to a spot that's not populated because there's no telling if they're going to follow you or just start killing tens of thousands of people until you come back. Like you can't bring the fight somewhere else unless Juwaan, I believe it was you said like that you could push the fight somewhere else, and he's not strong enough to go pushing his father anywhere.
No.
The alien invasion was fun to see. That happened
Yes.
a lot more in the first few issues of the book. Like that was almost a running gag in the book, and like a learning curve of how you learn to stop these assholes. And like his dad disappearing for a while, like while he was on their planet, just basically that was the first real look, because the murder of the Guardians of the Globe did not happen in the very first issue. That happened I think at the end of like the
issue 6.
6. Okay, right.
Yeah.
And then it was the reveal at the end of the 12th issue. But
Mhm.
like when they were fighting the aliens and his dad got sent to, went through the portal and was kind of on their advanced planet for like it was one issue, I think. But you kind of saw when his mom was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I had to teach them a lesson." And he goes through the flashbacks of him basically just genociding the whole planet. And you kind of get the idea, like, maybe this guy's a little touched in the head.
Yeah.
And then the murder happens, and you're like, okay, I get it now. Like, something's up here. And to watch that whole thing play out, and to know like the scenes of what's going to happen very soon is wild. And I hope that this thing gets forget 3 seasons. I want this to go about 6 or so, 5 or 6,
I
to
go 6.
really get through everything that happens.
Yeah.
And I'm only halfway through the comics, and damn it, the stories are amazing. And I have nothing spoiled for me about the comics. I had one thing spoiled for me from a review that we did on the Basement Show a long time ago when it first happened. And I was like pre-heartbroken about that, and I won't say anything about it. But man, it hit me hard. And that's the thing, like you said about this show, was the character development was so great and so fast that credit to whoever like adapted this series. I don't know if it was just Robert Kirkman or whatever, or however many writers.
And I think
went
Seth
into
Rogen
this.
had something to do with this too.
Yeah,
I would imagine he did.
He's
Producer.
which, by the way, really quickly, Preacher, The Boys, and now Invincible. Seth Rogen, you really got an
Yep.
eye for executive producing.
Oh, don't sleep on Green Hornet.
I don't.
Eh,
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. No, I didn't love it,
remember.
but it was definitely
I
more.
don't remember how much I
But I
enjoyed.
liked
I would try it again, but I remember not liking it the first time because I was expecting a serious movie, not a Ragnarok style
not a-
flick. So
already.
I would try it again. You know,
My issue with Seth Rogen as an actor is usually Seth Rogen just approaches every role just being Seth Rogen.
yeah.
So to me, it's always just like,
Yeah,
I don't know, Seth.
that was probably. Yeah, he was trying not to be Seth Rogen because he slimmed down so much.
He did.
That was he was
Well,
pretty
the
much.
first time he slimmed down was Green Hornet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Close
you
to
know,
that.
Go
ahead, Jaydee.
there's one thing that he said that has stuck with me forever, and I can't get out of my head, is when he was oh my god, with the young kids, where he was the cop.
Yeah.
Super bad.
Super bad.
bad.
Super
And
bad.
he was like,
I think it's a great.
Did he have a- He goes,
I love
"Do you have a fro like mine?" And to this day, I can't I can't get rid of seeing Seth Rogen with a Jew fro. I'm like, dude,
Oh man, yeah,
Such
him
a
and
good
his
movie.
boy. Him and his boy. I think it's not Seth Green. It's Seth something.
no, Evan,
Evan
Peters.
Evan Goldberg or something like that.
Gold. I forget.
Oh,
But either way, those two are always EP on things.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They work together on Preachers, The Boys, and
I still haven't sat down and watched Preacher. I have to do that. I
Pretty
know.
good.
I don't know what Preacher is based off of, but I enjoy it.
Comic.
You never read the comics?
are you
No.
kidding me?
Oh, dude.
No.
Please do.
I told you guys, I always, whenever I hear a project like that, if I don't know it, I always want to start with the show or the movie first.
I read the comics long time ago before the show, but like that was my first introduction to Garth Ennis. Probably like right as he was going to start The Punisher, somebody was like, "You should read Preacher first," and I was like,
Over
"Just so
the
you know what
top,
you're getting yourself
yeah.
into." It's amazing. It's so
Yeah,
amazing
I
and so
will say-
sacrilegious. It's so fantastic.
I will say the actors in Preacher is what really truly sells it. The story is really good, but the actors is what sells it every season.
Well, you had the husband and wife team working right there. Ruth Naga is married to Dominic.
No shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're really like together. I didn't know that.
Oh wow,
Yeah, husband and wife. Like they got kids.
I had no idea.
good for
Ruth,
him.
by the way. Ruth for the longest was my Catwoman. Ruth is just
Okay.
so goddamn talented.
Okay.
We forget she also won awards and then immediately slipped into people forgetting about her.
See, the first time I saw her was on Agents of Shield.
Me too.
Season 1.
See, I never watch Agents of Shield.
That was a good
Jesus
show.
Christ.
Like that's.
What are we
I
doing
mean,
here?
especially the first
I only
few
watched
seasons.
the Ghost Rider season. I only
Oh
watched
my
the Ghost
God.
Rider season.
Call your father. Switch. Call your father.
Well, if I call him, I'm gonna tell you right now, he would say Agents of what? He didn't watch it either.
Dude, it was Chloe Bennett Tuesdays. Like that was the reason to watch the show. She's so
Yeah.
adorable.
Wait, I fan casted Chloe Bennett for somebody.
Anything. I don't care what she's in. I
Yes,
just want to
yes,
watch it.
they did. I
Who did
forgot
I
who it
fan
was.
cast her for?
Sabine? No, not Sabine.
Yeah, Sabine Wren. Sabine Wren. Joel, I fan casted her as Sabine. If they were to do Sabine in the Ahsoka show. I was
Oh,
like,
so
Chloe Bennett
so
could be
she's
Sabine.
where the Knights of Ren started?
No.
No.
Oh my god. No, she is not where the Knights of Ren started. Which, by the way,
the first episode of Bad Batch, though.
There are Star Wars
Like
fans
it?
that heads are spinning right now.
really quickly, JD, did you like Bad Batch?
Awesome.
50-50 on it. I
Aw.
liked where
What's
it was
the
going,
bad 50?
and I didn't like how it ended.
Really?
Crosshair.
Yeah. Oh, let's go off to our next adventure. No, man. No, I want to see the direct effects of what's happening carry on to the next episode.
Oh, okay. As someone who's seen the next episode, you'll get right back into the good 50 of that 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I ain't get it. Is that a tattoo on the guy's face, or is that like he shaved the hair off of his face to get that half skull, or what is that?
No, that's his actual defect scars. Like that's one of those
Oh,
experiments.
nice that it shows up like a half skull.
It does show up like a half skull. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, so to get back into Invincible.
Okay, sorry.
No. We're completely fine. That's what I love when we pod together. Joel, I'm gonna go to you. Your thoughts on this first season, and we talked about it, Joel. And I'm curious what Jaydee and you think. We talked about it Monday. I now put into better perspective when remember when Omni-Man was just literally wrecking Mark's shit, and then he has a flashback of him in the baseball game, and it's what stops him. It brought more clarity to why Omni-Man reacted the way he did when Mark told him he got his powers. Because it contradicts what he said in that final episode. He said once he got the powers, it was like, oh, thank God, you're not one of them. You're actually a Viltrumite. But in that moment, I think it upset him because it let him know what he had to do. It let him know he couldn't keep being in the shadows. At some point, he would have had to have shown Mark exactly who he is, what he is, and what their actual purpose here is. And right. I think it hurt I think the humanity in him that Mark's mother gave Omni-Man, I think that little part of him got a little hurt in the moment of, damn it, I gotta reveal everything to him now. Like I think he was hoping that he never got powers, and he can kind of just write it 100%. Off as, I'll kill you, I'll kill your mom, I could care less, no attachment. But now that you are a Viltrumite, there's a bond there that we now have, and it's like, damn it. Like he's like,
I want to add something to this when you're done, Joel.
Oh no, yeah, go ahead, Joel, and then you can go ahead, Pete.
I mean, coming off of that, I do believe he was talking a lot. He obviously the Viltrumites. Who I didn't get to say it yesterday or Monday, I think it was. But when we were talking about like how what kind of aliens they remind me more of the Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z than any other type of alien.
Yeah, there was a comparison of Krypton, but it is more like Goku's planet, Vegeta's planet.
Yeah.
And the idea of your job, because everyone forgets, Joel, Goku's job was to go to Earth and conquer it. Right. But he got a concussion and forgot his program. Yeah. And that's why he never did. People
exactly.
forget that all the time. So you're right. That's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that's and I think that's where they pulled it from. Right. I think that pulled that from because that's the point of the Saiyans were to go out and conquer. So this is obviously a little different. He's obviously older, and Goku was a child. But I thought the show in general just like was it was a great interpretation. Like I it's been like 6 years honestly since I read this book, so I only remember, like I told you, flashes, certain images, and I only read up to like 115. So I never got to 140 or 145 or whatever it ended. So I do plan on finishing it, but I only remember so much. But like, and I remember a lot of the big events. So I remembered a lot of what happened in this first season, but not all of it. Like, and I don't like I couldn't tell you everything from like this was from the book or this wasn't. Like I only like remember certain things. But again, a lot of it I remember it being accurate. I remember that. I remember like when he first tosses the fucking garbage into the sky. That wasn't
Joel told me. He was like, "Oh my God, they did it." And I was like, "Wait, that was a moment?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
They take so much from the comic. Like that's why I wasn't sure if they were actually going to kill the Guardian of the Globe in the first episode, because I don't remember it happening in the first issue. So I'm like, I'm not sure where it's going to happen. And I didn't even know if he'd get his powers in the first episode. They obviously he did, but because I didn't know how they were going to tighten everything up. But yeah, this show was fantastic. I mean, fantastic to the T. Like you said, the voice acting was great. The animation, I love the whole animation of it. And they definitely set up the future, and I think that's even more exciting. I think the only thing that's really missing from this show, as I think Jaydee mentioned earlier, there's a lot more other. He tried to connect like the Image world, there were a lot more Savage Dragon. Now he wasn't in everything, but he was in it. There's this other superhero group that showed up a lot. I can't remember their name. Something Inc. I think. They were in it a lot.
I'm sorry. While you're saying this part, I just want to say that there is something I noticed that he did have to change with his own product. He had a dog that was an adventurer.
Yes.
And it was science dog.
Yes.
But in the show, it was seance dog.
Interesting.
Science.
Yeah, it was science. Right.
It was seance dog. So I'm like, that's your own property. Why couldn't you use it the way you had it in the book? That
is weird. It wasn't a prominent, it was more prominent in the comic book because right. The cartoon, obviously, it's kind of like in the background, but you're right. I didn't pick that up. That's a good point. What else was I talking about? The fact that they used more Image characters, he used even his own properties. He brought, I think, Wolfman or something.
He did, right? Yeah,
I love that character. Looked cool, but he brought that character in a couple of Tech Jacket. I think was another character he'd bring in. A lot. So I'm sure big battles. A lot of the big battles you see, sir, in a lot of these characters. And even Spawn showed up at one point, but it's really just that one. And that's it. And then there's even a crossover with Spider-Man, like I told you, at one point. But that's when you're talking multiverse. But there's just so much. Obviously, they're probably not gonna be able to. That stuff will probably get cut out or whatever. But if he does include some of those cool characters, those are his characters. So I don't see why he couldn't if he wanted to. But I would love to see them. I just don't know if they'll actually go there. But that'd be cool too. And I knowing what's coming, at least for the most part, I'm very excited to see what's coming. I like how they do it and how much of it in season 2 and 3. And I have no doubt it'll extend to more.
Yeah, Pete, go over what you were gonna say, and then I have a question for you guys.
You were talking about how his mom kind of grounded Omni-Man, and when Mark got his powers, Omni-Man was like, "Shit, now I have to really tell him what's going on." Right. And I think how if he didn't get his powers, you'd say, just kill your mom, and makes no difference. I think the opposite, actually. I think he was definitely rooting for Mark not to get his powers, but the fact that what we see of Omni-Man now versus what you'll later find out about him,
right?
He kind of broke Viltrumite code, and he got way too attached, and he was not supposed to do that. And the fact is, I think he was rooting for Mark not to get his powers, because if he didn't, then he could have just completely waited them out, let them die, and then have absolutely no attachment to the human race whatsoever. And now I can do what I'm supposed to do here, what a Viltrumite is supposed to do. But the fact that his son got his powers, and I think he knew then, fuck, there's no way I'm going to convince this kid who has been raised as a human, he said that, to turn against his entire race, his entire planet. I'm going to have to really either convince him or kill him. And clearly that was something that he thought he was ready to do and was not, as witnessed in the last episode. And that is exactly what happened in the comics. It was almost like panel for panel, right to the beat down on Mount Everest, minus a few add-ons, like Jay had said, with the train. There was definitely a train scene, but it did not happen like that. And as near as I could tell, there was the building collapse, but I don't believe there was the mom and child and the fucking bloody arm. That was, I think, exclusive to the cartoon, and I was like, wow, okay, that's a hell of an add-on.
I did like that because I thought Robert was trying to get a point across to us.
Yeah. Oh, point taken.
How drastically different he was than what we imagined Superman to be. He was really trying to drive home what Omni-Man was saying, which was, I don't care about these people. I will murder all of you. You know what I'm saying? So,
and it was such a desperate act, in my opinion, that he was not only trying to inform Mark, but in the back of his mind, he was trying to convince himself that I don't care about these people, even though I've just spent, like he said, the blink of an eye in his existence, which is like 10 to 20,000 years or whatever. But the time that he's been here has clearly changed him, because as Alan the Alien said in the last closing moments of the episode, holy shit, a Viltrumite abandoned his post? They've never done that. Wait, what? That's never happened. So let that lead into the future seasons, and it's really exciting to see where this is going.
Oh yeah.
And I did love the visual. It completely backs the whole premise you gave of his mindset behind not wanting him to have the powers. First of all, best visual of the series is him flying into space so fucking fast it burns the blood off the suit.
Yeah,
fucking
That's
beautiful.
great.
But what supports everything you just said, Pete, was the last thing Omni-Man leaves is his tears. So it's like it's clear how much that hurt him.
Yeah.
And I you know, and again, this is me speaking on how I viewed it, not actually how they did it in the comics, but it kind of spoke to more so of him going, I don't know if I can do this. Like I talked a big game and I killed the boy. I don't think I can honestly do this. So to me, it was just really beautiful how Robert did that. Whoever that writing team is, they give them all awards. They did a job.
But Omni-Man showed us that he knows how to kill Viltrumites.
Right.
And he could have killed Mark easily.
Sure.
So even without convincing him, right? I mean, you wouldn't have needed that long to convince your child or beat his ass around the fucking world.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Jaydee. The first building you threw me through, I would have either said yes or no. Like it wouldn't have been a no. One more building, Dad. I'm thinking. No, the first building I crashed through, either yes or no is my answer immediately. Like I didn't need that much.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Judge. Sorry.
No, Pete. I was gonna say the one thing I appreciated about the comics, as that they ported over to the show, was that the coloring of the comics was never over rendered. You know, it was a nice flat imagery, but it always popped, and that was able to transition. Here, it looked like the pages of the book.
It did. Ryan.
Yeah.
You know?
Ryan Otley. He's on Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
Really quickly, because you guys are lucky it stopped, but apparently it's telling me my internet connection is unstable, but you guys' faces, the way they all froze.
Oh man, I wish I would have screenshotted yours just now. Hell.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Okay.
You look like you puckered a lemon.
I am so not looking forward to editing this and seeing either my face or seeing again.
Please send us a picture of this, of like whatever we looked like.
Yes,
I'd love to see that.
I will take a look at that.
That should be the cover image. Is just everyone's frozen face.
It might just be that right under figure it out. It might just be that. Last thing before we get out of here, I want you guys to tell me your favorite fight scene from the series. Actually, your most memorable scene from out this first season. Jaydee, I'll start with you. You can only pick one. Your most memorable moment.
I am going to go with the second alien invasion.
Okay.
You know, everybody is going to pick the other stuff, the meaty stuff. Like, and I'm not going to say it. We've already been mentioning it. So for me, that second alien invasion, because that's when the team started to come together.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
I love that.
And I did love to where it was just like, why are they leaving? And it's just like, I think our time here works differently than theirs. It's like, oh, like, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, sure. The writing is so good on this show that I didn't even care how like very neat that was. Just like they can't stop them, so it just so happens that they just age really fast.
It plays a factor later too.
Oh my god, you guys are making me want to read these fucking comics.
You should.
I don't like not being in the loop of things.
I'm buying my cousin the next 2 volumes for Mother's Day. instead of for Father's Day. Because he went through it and he was like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Dude, you just got to get the rest of this, man.
You got to get the rest of it." I'm gonna see if I can stay strong enough to get to season 2 because I do like the idea of not knowing. Yeah, Pete, as Joe, I'm very weak when it comes to waiting, so I probably won't.
Patience is not one of my virtues either, my friend. Don't worry.
It's not one of mine either, really. So next time we talk, I'll probably tell you like issue 1 was amazing. But no, that's a really good memorable moment, Jaydee. Pete, which memorable moment you going with?
I'm kind of a sap, you know, like honestly, I really like the catch scene. Throwing the ball around the earth and and it goes around and then Omni-Man catches it and they just I don't know, like that was a lot of good memories of like, you know, you're sitting there with your dad playing catch. That was just awesome for me. And that was right out of the comics too. A lot of the training sequences were right out of the books. And they were all so well done. And I know, you know, from my dad trying to teach me sports and me not even coming close to what this man was a 5'4" Italian guy, but for fuck's sake, he could shoot a jump shot from half court and like just sink the damn thing. Like I could barely make a layup for God's sakes. Or, you know, don't get him with a baseball bat behind the plate because every freaking time he never hit a home run, but God damn it, he hit a double to get on base every time.
Damn right.
And, like all he ever told me was don't kill the ball, just meet the ball, put it in play. And you know, I'd swing and a miss almost every time. So, you know, like the idea of looking at your dad, watching like him do all of this great stuff, and you're just trying your hardest to live up to it. And yeah, it was great.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I even love the moment of it's coming. Do you hear it? Are you ready? And he's like, I hear it, Dad. I'm ready. And, and it even still catches him off guard. When he catches it, it's like, God damn.
Oh man, the like, that scene when he was like, oh
yeah,
like,
he's ooh.
Yeah, okay. I've caught many a ball from my father that way. Like, oh shit, okay, hand hurts a little bit. Thanks, Pop.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that moment for you, Pete. My dad actually probably would never believe this, but is an amazing singer. I got none of those genes. So I didn't get the height and I didn't get the voice. So
I hear you, man.
So
and I don't hear you, which is probably good. But I'll chime right in on that. My dad was a doo-wop singer. He was one of those guys with the little beatnik hat in the 50s, you know, flicking his fingers, singing on a street corner, played guitar and everything. I couldn't use a fucking musical key in a door.
Same here. Same here. My dad can play the drums. I can't even get the coordination. I'm just no. I'm like
karaoke. We're like this, cause that's it though. But
it's funny. So I try to use this as like a weapon to where everyone's just like, "Your dad can sing. Like, why can't you sing?" I'm like, "Well, I podcast really good." And it's like, it's not really
that in and of itself is a talent, my friend.
I try to tell people, Pete. No one agrees. It's just like. He can sing. He can, you know, he can play sports. Like, what can you do? I podcast. It's like,
you know what? No, you can talk in public, bro. The art of talking to people and not umming your every single word between sentences. Right. That is a gift.
Very difficult. And I will tell you, when you first start doing podcasting, that is the most difficult step to overcome.
Oh yeah,
because it's the idea of you're supposed to be so rapid that your brain is just like, hey. Here's all the things you should talk about. And then your mouth is just like, whoa, you're going too fast. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what to do. So I threw Juwaan like 4 ums. I didn't know what to do.
I'm always reminded of that scene in The Simpsons when, I don't know, it's like, I think Homer's got to take some kind of test at the plant or whatever. I'm not a huge Simpson fan, so I'm going to have to paraphrase this. But he's like, okay, brain. I don't like you and you don't like me, but we have to work together here and then I can continue killing you with alcohol. It's a deal. And that's how we get along. Like every podcast that we have to do, it's like, all right, we got to work together now. And then
and that's
killing you with drugs and alcohol.
And that's why I appreciate you being here, Pete, because you say the things that my brain tells me, hey, don't say that.
Nah,
Say that you
yeah,
thought this now. Don't say that. My brain will not let me say half the stuff I want to say when I do these podcasts.
I appreciate being useful.
Yeah, Pete was definitely my gift. Pete was my gift for sure. No, but definitely great moment. I love it. Joel, what moment are you putting up here for most memorable moment?
Oh, all right. Well, as long as I can just not include the finale fight, because there's so many moments during that fight where it's like you guys mentioned the train sequence, like that's unreal. That was insane to watch. Chilling, and then of course the building scene with the cat. I mean, that whole finale fight was insane. I like the fight actually in the with the Mahershala's character. I forget his name. I can't remember. The
Titan.
big the building.
Yeah,
His name was Titan.
Titan, right?
Titan and Isotrope was the guy in Machine Head.
Right. When they fight Machine Head's goons, and that was like when we first see Battle Beast. I love that. No, that's when they get the whole team gets their ass whooped.
Yeah.
I don't like that they got their ass whooped, but I do. It's just in like watching it. You're like, holy fuck, they got whooped.
Yeah.
You know, and I do enjoy like the new Guardians of the Globe and all that, but like just seeing like Battle Beast do his thing and then just you didn't. I didn't like I read the book and I don't remember that well, and I just was surprised that they got their ass so bad, you know. But I do enjoy that fight scene.
Yeah.
That was actually calmer in the cartoon. If I remember correctly, like Battle Beast really knocked the snot out of them, and like they got whooped in the cartoon, but like I think it was worse in the comics for the first time. Oh yeah, I think so.
Battle Beast is a monster.
Yeah, he really is.
Jesus, because legally 2 of them were pronounced dead. So
like,
God
damn. He beat the power back.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. I'm gonna go.
Books are so worth it, man. They really are.
Stop enticing me to read them, Pete.
No.
He's like, no, I will not. For my memorable moment, I'm gonna go the Pete's route. I'm gonna go less action and more so just monumental to the feeling of the story. And it's a moment I told you guys before where he's flying holes into the backyard and he's having that moment with his mom. That was needed for him. And being very much a mama's boy. I felt that, and I even love the last line that she gives him, where he says, "I love you, mom," and she says, "I love you too, my asshole son." I love it. That's definitely me and my mom. But it was needed for Mark in that moment. He was starting to get a little too hot to trot for, a little too full of himself.
Yeah.
And it was his mom's way of kind of going, "Hey, in this house, you're my son. You're not invincible." So I very much loved that moment, and you kind of never saw them, have any rifts between the two of them going forward. She very much laid down the law. He understood it, and that was that. Kind of the same. By the way, we talk about Omni-Man destroying half of the town in the last episode. We don't talk enough about how when she kicked him out, there was a door right there, and he decided to fly out. I part of me did say if Robert Kirkman was a genius, he truly is. That's the moment where you break the 5th wall and you have what's his name who voiced Omni-Man? J.K. Simmons come in his insurance
yeah, we cover that.
That would have been so perfect. That was a missed opportunity. It just was. But
what? That was a major. I'm sorry. Go, Jay.
No, they could do that in a commercial right now.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yes. Because it would really drive the show. It really, really, really would. Where you just see him knock on her door. It's just like, well, we saw that, and it's now covered. Yeah. But no, that's the first thing I thought when he flew through the roof, and I'm like, there's a door right there.
I forgot about that. Actually, that's a major difference. Was she did not figure it out at the way she did in the cartoon. In the comics, she learned it all when Mark had the conversation with his dad, because by then he was kind of working with Cecil on many more things, and he had a little piece in his ear, and they heard the whole thing, and she was with them, and so she heard the whole thing, and she was like, what the fuck? Like,
Yep.
like, so it was all like just hit her at the same time. So it was like that was an interesting and kind of strange. I think it was to build her character more for.
She's supposed to be such a strong character. I
Yeah.
think the idea of her having to shoulder
Mhm.
all of this,
As opposed to being in the blind the entire time. Yeah, I think it did wonders for her character to learn it on her own, as opposed to just being boom blindsided and slapped with it.
right? Like essentially, Mark was the one that was blindsided by everything.
Yeah.
He was more just like,
Oh, him too, definitely. Like he found out the exact same way. Like when Omni-Man punched through in the Immortal the second time, like, and he was like, "Dad," like, "Oh yeah, so I got some stuff to tell you." Like,
but see, let me say this: I love that Kirkman didn't fall into the regular trope of like dragging that out. I love how immediately Mark assumed his dad had some kind of trance that he was in.
Right.
There's just no possible way his dad, rather than the whole, "Dad, is that you?" Like, no, we don't need that. Get right into the meat of it. Was no way that's my dad. Let me knock this out of you so we can get back to normal.
And then he's like, "No, it's me."
Yeah, I loved it. I love that. That was very good. Very, very. Yeah. Go ahead.
Very good.
Going back to what you were saying, Pete, with her, figuring it out in the show, not in the books. That's Robert Kirkman solving the Lois Lane thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She is figuring out the secret, not the secret identity, but she is discovering how can an intelligent woman not notice what's right in front of her face.
That's a valid point. That's a good point.
Made her solve it.
Right. No, I loved
her strength.
Yeah, no, I definitely loved it. I will say the funniest moment that I laughed myself into tears is when Rex sees Robot and he's just like,
yeah,
what is going on? And then like, Omni-Man is killing Invincible and he's like, no, shut up. Why do you look like me? Forget the world ending. Yeah. What is this? And then I love how he's like they figure it out, like, oh, he did that, for Monster Girl to be someone around her age, that's someone that she found attractive, or whatever. He's like, no. That doesn't make it sound any better. It's only weirder. Yeah. Like it makes me sound very creepy. Like, you got to stop all of this. So, like, I just want to know. I only brought that up to ask you guys before we get out of here. Is that accurate that he turns into who Rex is?
100%.
Oh yeah,
100%.
That's why. Yeah, that's why him taking the blood sample. I told you, that's going to play a factor later.
I swear, I had no idea what you meant by that. Like,
well, I'm happy.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Gonna play. I mean, I'm glad they got. That's a visual I still remember. Like that, the reveal that robot looked like that little whatever gnome thing, and that was fucking like terrifying. Yeah. I'm like, they nailed it. they fucking nailed it.
I do love that he essentially became. He essentially had the same evolution that Vision did in WandaVision, to where he went from this android to now like a real person, and then it's just like, you like it, don't you? Like, I do.
That was a big reason that I started reading the comics, was like when Robot was showing these signs of like, yo, what is this dude up to? Yeah. I'm like, no, this guy cannot be a bad guy. Give me the book. Give me the goddamn books. I have to know.
I did like it because I swear, because we got the screeners before it actually came out, and that was the last episode of the screeners we got. Was when he was letting them out of prison. Mm-hmm. So in that moment, I'm just like, whoa, wait, what? I don't get it. Why? And then, when you see the full product, you're just like, oh, so he wasn't doing it to be like this nefarious douchebag. Like, he was trying to be sweet to Monster Girl, who, who
nobody,
right. It essentially was, and obviously this came out before WandaVision, but it essentially was our WandaVision, just in Invincible. It was
I remember Monster Girl being introduced a little bit later, though. I don't remember her being introduced this early. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, she
it was later.
First 12.
Yeah, first 12.
Yeah, she was part of the team drive.
I don't remember playing a big factor until a little bit later, but maybe because knowing what happens later, like she was more prominent, but maybe that's why. But just don't remember playing as big a role early.
Well, no, I love this. I'm glad they confirmed season 2 and 3. So after season 2, we don't have to worry about season 3. We know we're going right from 1 to 2 to 3. Last thing I wanted to ask, and I wanted to ask this to you, Jaydee.
Okay.
We know that this has a full run, right? Like there is no up and this has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be a fan of them avoiding the end to expand the story because of how successful it is? Or do you hope that it literally begins and ends the same way that the book did?
Well, it's funny because Robert Kirkman's career in comics is stretching it out.
Right.
He is the king of taking what could have been done in one issue and turning it into a 6-issue arc. And we already know he's done that with Walking Dead.
Oh,
I mean, 11 fucking seasons
right.
and 3 different spin-offs.
Right.
You know? Come on. So do I see that happening? Yeah. Do I see a Guardians of the Globe cartoon series?
I love that.
Spin-off? Yeah.
I had the comic.
Yeah, dude, I liked it. I really did.
I have them downstairs.
So I see this going deep.
Okay. I like it. I mean, hey, I'll say this. Walking Dead, I walked away from right after. By the way, Robert Kirkman does have such a hard on for killing Stephen Young or upon his character. He just really loves it. I don't know what it is about him and Steven's relationship, but it's like, Steven, whenever we work together, you have to be destroyed.
I love Steven, yeah.
But I will say, right after that moment where he got his head bashed in, is when I stopped watching Walking Dead. So I just hope that if he does expand Invincible, it never gets to the feeling that Walking Dead did. To where it was just like, you feel like it's, like, to me, it's one of those things to where it's like Joel, I'll be completely honest with you. You just started Burn Notice, right? There will come a point in Burn Notice where it gets beyond what the actual focus is. And once you pass that focus, it's like, all right, cool, you guys are ending it. And then it's like, wait, there's 3 more seasons? Why? Like, why are you expanding this? It's done.
Smallville does that. Like, if they were like 10 seasons Smallville, I'm like, I didn't need 10 seasons. He's been in Metropolis 4 years now. Why the fuck isn't he Superman? I'm like,
so I just hope Kirkman never gives me that feel for Invincible, because the love I have for it now, I don't ever imagine the day where I'm just like, God damn, another season.
I have a question before we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Joe. No, Jay, go.
I was gonna say, you guys got like what, 800-900 episodes of Dragon Ball Z?
Don't get them started on Dragon Ball.
To be fair, Dragon Ball Z was legit as I was growing up. It wasn't. It wasn't in the one setting of just like, all right, this is just too much now.
I mean, I wait years to finish Dragon Ball Z. You know?
Dragon Ball is in perpetuity. Like, I think that's in the contract. Like,
now, I'm out. Where I will say is a better comparison, JD, is One Piece, because there's at least 5.
I don't even know what that is.
It's an anime that has at least 5 million episodes. To where at some point someone has to go, I can't do it.
It's near 1,000. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming up on 1,000 episodes.
Wow.
And I'm at 600 something. So yeah.
Yeah, I told you I'll never start that show because I could never commit to 1,000 episodes of
anything. Fucking good show.
But Pete, in this out, what was your question?
Since this is all about figures and toys, there are now apparently 2 sets of Invincible toys out there. There is like the Skybound set. There's the regular and bloody variants of Mark, of Omni-Man, and Adam Eve, and now there's a whole other set coming that's like available on Amazon and Entertainment Earth and anything. So just curious, is anybody planning on getting those?
I pre-ordered the 2-pack of Mark and Omni-Man that's fully posable.
Cool.
Because I always need fully posable. So I already
the first set is the bloody set is not really posable, as opposed to just kind of like you stand there and look cool.
Yep, it's more your statuesque.
Right.
Figure
that's more my style. I don't need my guys to move.
No, that's completely fine. So I would say that one, Joel, comes in 2 versions. It's him completely plain, and then him completely bloody.
The bloody one is pretty fucking dope.
It is pretty.
I'm really like this close to ordering the bloody versions, and like I haven't quite pulled the trigger yet, but I'm like almost there. Like if I'm drunk enough by the end of this episode, I'm probably gonna order them tonight. Like,
I'm gonna tell you now, the more we're speaking, there's a because we talked about it before, how 6-inch Star Wars figures never have vehicles. I just found Luke with the what's the vehicle he uses? God damn it, where the
T-16 Skyhopper, the land speeder.
the land speeder. It's long and like brown.
Yeah.
Yes, I just saw that they have that for 6-inch, and it comes with Luke with like the helmet with like the goggles and the long range rifle and the lightsaber. Immediately said Amazon buy. Like, I was just like,
Now,
yes.
Isn't that a smaller version of the Invincible 1/18th?
Not that I've seen yet.
Invincible.
I was just quickly Googling it. I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything either. But if Jaydee, if you find it, I'll cancel this one. I'll cancel this immediately.
Juwaan, is there only Omni-Man and Invincible right now in the fully posable versions?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Just those two guys. And by the way, they look amazing. Like,
yeah, all of the toys really do. You're right.
My biggest thing is whenever they translate from a movie or a show or a cartoon to a toy, the face usually always suffers. This looks so spot on. This looks great.
Do you find that it's easy? I won't say easier, because I don't know dick about sculpting. I passed sculpting class because my teacher was nice. Do you find that it's more accurate going from a cartoon to a figure than from a movie to a figure?
I would say it should be easier from a movie to a figure because the money's bigger. So it's like you should be able to get as close as you literally can. But
theoretically,
right? But I find that the movie ones are less accurate.
Yeah.
Than anything else.
There's less features on the cartoon. It's just
very true. Yeah, very true.
Right.
Jaydee,
if they got the 3D files set up, if they got the STL files, they just port that over, dude. So like the 3D files that we have for our figures, all you got to do is put a wireframe inside of it, and you can animate.
Yeah, because I'll tell you this, they've done a better job now, but I swear the way they used to sculpt wrestlers is just like, wait a minute, you do know what like Hulk Hogan looks like, right? How did this become what he looks like for a toy? So
they were better off with like the WWF like mad cartoony shit from the mid 90s.
I agree. Because when they tried to sculpt it more realistically, it was just like, you failed. But now they've gotten tremendously better. But before it was just no. So I'm with you, Pete. They struggle with it for sure.
Yeah. I honestly think that to answer my own question, it looks better when it comes from like a cartoon or something, because it just you don't have to struggle with that likeness of a real human being, as opposed to like now you're maybe you got to put more money into the production of the figure, and that just jacks up production cost, and then the figure don't make no money, and then we get what we did with, like, let's say G.I. Joe, the Rise of Cobra, and the other one, Retaliation figures.
Yep.
And however many other figures come from movies that look like basura.
Yeah, we weren't even 100% sold on what the Snake Eyes figures look.
I'm still not.
Yeah, it was just like, because you know what it was, Joel. I started rewatching Warrior, so like clearly I know what Andrew Koji looks like, and when you see that Storm Shadow figure, it's just like, I don't think they know what Andrew Koji looks like. That does not remind me of Andrew Koji's face whatsoever. But all right, guys, we broke down Invincible. We talked DC's mess. We talked our confusion with some of the decisions over at Marvel. We had a full show. I want to thank Jaydee. I want to thank Pete. I want to thank Joel. For this episode, we did do our Star Wars May the Pod Be With You yesterday. Jaydee joined us. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. That was fun.
Absolutely, man. My dad freaked out. He texted me as soon as he saw Jaydee pop up. I was just like, yo, Jaydee, tell him I said what's up. I was like, Dad, relax. But he's fans of all you guys. He legit called me today and said, where was Pete and Joel? I said, it's not our show for that one day. Like, we're shooting our show today. Relax. He was
Tell your dad there's no accounting for taste.
right. He was upset when we did the endings one that he was not part of it. So yeah, so we gotta figure out a way.
Your dad should do like the voiceover intro to all your shows.
Set it up.
Don't do that, because now I'll call him tomorrow and be like, Dad, you got to do this. Jaydee put it in my head, you had to do this now.
Love that, dude. He's got that voice, man. That's a smooth cat right there.
He sure does. And what's crazy is, I never really see it, but everyone thinks my dad looks like Samuel Jackson. He gets it literally everywhere he goes. Joel, out of you guys, is the only one that's actually seen him. I don't see it, but it's because you look at it from a son to father lens. He gets it everywhere we go. Everywhere. I swear, everywhere we go. And I'm just like, guys, no, he's not. No, don't let him sign that. But no, all love to Pops. Thank you guys for this episode. Make sure you guys do check out our live stream. It's up on our YouTube page for May the Pod Be With You. It was our first annual one. We will be bringing it back again next year. I just love the play of it. May the pod be with you. I just really love it. So stay tuned for that. Me and Joel did record Much Ado About Nothing. That is up on Spotify, iTunes, and all the other DSPs. We have GVN Talk this Friday. And Pete, you owe me and Joe a Star Wars podcast.
I know, and I actually lost track of the days. Of the 5th, and that was my own foolishness. I had planned, I was like, all right, we'll do it next week, and then like I just dropped the ball. But I do owe you and Joe a Star Wars episode, so hopefully maybe we can schedule it up next week. I spoke to my buddy Rocco, and he's in on it as well, so we can get it moving. I promise.
All right.
It's coming.
Is it tomorrow, Rise of the 6th?
It's honestly, possibly. Star Wars is like a 3-day thing. It's May the 4th be with you, Revenge of the 5th, and then it's something like you just said, Jaydee.
I always thought it was Revenge of the 6th too. Like I don't know. Like, but I gotta go out tomorrow night, as it were. I'm owed dinner and drinks with some old coworkers. This ex coworkers, nothing fancy.
I thought you said sex coworkers. Like,
I swear, I thought you did.
At least one of them, but but that's not gonna happen. I mean, it's an aspiration, but that's it.
I was gonna say, I don't know where Pete works. I'm applying tomorrow. Sex coworkers, like instead of your boss going, "Here's your bonus," he's just like, "Here's a coworker you can actually sleep with." It's like, thank you, boss.
Listen, I have always said, don't shit where you sleep, and I worked in fashion. There was nothing but hot women running around left and right. And there was a lot of gay dudes. So it was really just like me and like 3 other guys, like living in our glory. But like, don't shit where you sleep, because that makes a very uncomfortable work environment. But after you get after you're not working there no more, like it's off. Now everything's off the table. Everything's fun and games.
Once you start working there, it's like the NFL draft. It's just all right. Pick number 1.
you gotta ride those waves until you crash hard on that rock, bro.
You know what? I should have at the time. I was mistaken in that I just thought I'd be there longer. But but missed opportunities can still be capitalized on in a few instances.
I wish you well.
And I will say we will definitely be canceled after this episode. But anyway,
100%. It's all my fault, YouTube. Just it's Pete's Basement's fault. It's not Juwaan's fault.
No, Pete. You know what I've been noticing in these last few episodes? This is what I've been noticing. Me, you, and Jaydee will say something, right? And then we'll say something. We'll go, "Whoa." Joel's always quiet during a lot of these moments. And I'm like, I'm starting to understand why. So Joel could go, no, play the tape back. I said nothing. I said not a word.
That's because you're the host. I'm usually drunk. Jay's usually drinking. We gotta just like hook Joel up with, I don't know, some sort of like idea.
You know what it is,
Joel? Or something like.
You know what it is, Joel? If I have to be the talker and they're the drinkers, it's just sold. You have to do cocaine. It's it. You just have
Oh,
to. You have to do
shit.
a pump while
He
we-
just swept you off the deep
Right,
end.
yeah. I mean, you just went mad deep there.
like, like
He's-
before every episode starts, we need to see the residue on Joel's nose.
They started you off with a beer or something. You know what I mean, bro?
Joel,
No,
if
gotta
you
go
if you have
full-
any
full on.
stones, you need to start the next show. Just like put your face in fucking baby powder or something, and just come on the show.
And just every once in a while, just do this,
So,
just like that.
hey, wait,
Um,
I do that all the time, but I assure you, it's allergies. It's allergies.
Yeah, me too.
all right. So clearly, this will be our last episode of Figure It Out.
Yeah, we're gonna just retitle the whole show. We'll just revamp the whole shit.
You'll edit this. You'll edit this part.
No, JD, I never edit us unless we say something just completely insane. I never edit. It's raw. It's who we are.
And that's scary because this is tame for me.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You know how this.
Oh, my
I'm
goodness.
well behaved.
hey, dude.
Oh my.
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right. So clearly, this one won't be monetized. All right, guys. So we
You
will
should
see
be
you
okay.
guys. We will see you guys
That's
next week
funny.
on an all new episode of Figure It Out. And thank you to you all because of all of you in this show. We have officially cracked 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yes.
So thank you guys very much.
Awesome.
And we make sure we put all you guys' social media handles in the bio section of it. So if anyone wants to see you guys' individual work, it's not like
Cool.
it's just
Thank
cheap.
you guys.
You guys have the outlet. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you same time, same place next week. Don't cancel us, but till then.
Later, guys.
Peace.